Golly Park, Bubba Sparks.
Booty, 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 rockin' everywhere. Booty, 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 rockin' everywhere. Booty, 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 rockin' everywhere. Rockin' everywhere, rockin' everywhere. I found you, this new booty.
All right, welcome back to the Get Off the Stage podcast, hosted as always by me, Claire Lefton, a journalism and film student at The Ohio State University. Today I am joined by my good friend. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Bergmann. I'm currently a chemical engineering student at The Ohio State University.
Yep. You can't talk about Ohio State University if you don't introduce it.
You have to use the Ohio State University.
So today we will be doing the ultimate Disney movie bracket. This is a bracket that came out in response to... There was an original March Madness Disney bracket that was really small, and people were like, where's the Pixar movies?
Where's the stuff that's not as well known?
Yeah. So they made one. It has, I believe, all of them on it. So
I don't know how they pulled that off, but mad props to whoever made this.
Yeah. But Elizabeth and I are going to go through it and then see what comes out on top for each of us. Elizabeth, what is your sort of Disney background?
I grew up watching Disney movies. I went to the parks when I was for a while. We went there for my 6th birthday because my uncle worked for the military and he would do stuff in Florida, so my aunt would go down and visit him and go to Disney. So she has like Disney Club benefits.
Oh, that's great.
So I've always got access to things that, looking back, were pretty cool. But I'm super jealous because now I'm older. I want to go to Disney more than I did when I was little. Like, my parents are going with my aunt this fall because they're going to be empty nesters, and they're going without me to the Food and Wine Festival, and they're staying at Animal Kingdom Lodge, and I'm so mad!
I went to the Food and Wine Festival kind of by accident in high school when we went on our choir trip, and it just happened to be the Food and Wine Festival at the time. Mm-hmm. And Epcot, during the Food and Wine Festival, they have additional, like, country booths set up all around World Showcase.
I love Epcot in general. It's my
me too.
It's my favorite park.
We're giant Ravenclaw dorks, so it's our favorite park.
And David's a Hufflepuff, so if I ever diss Hufflepuffs, he decides to diss the fact that my favorite Disney park is Epcot.
Yeah, just reference back to the first episode about Disney parks if you have more questions about the specifics of what we are interested in. So,
I have no shame in admitting, though, that I am a Disney whore.
Yes.
I will, as bad as I know some of their practices are, I will continue to watch their movies until the day I die. I love Disney merchandise. I'm wearing a Minnie Mouse watch right now.
Mm-hmm. Though I will say I'm really annoyed with the fanboys who are, like, big Star Wars and Marvel fanboys, and then they make fun of, like, the Disney fangirls, and they're like, you guys are so obsessive about these stupid princesses, and I'm like, I'm sorry, you shit your pants every time a new still from a new Star Wars movie comes out, so just, like, relax.
Rapunzel is a compelling character, let me have my fun!
Yeah, so, alright, so I think we should start with these outer ones that are, probably the lowest rated movies that'll face off against each other. I will do your bracket first and then mine second.
All right.
Okay. So the first one is Robin Hood versus Atlantis. What are your opinions on these movies?
Okay. I have a soft spot for both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Robin Hood Fox is a fox in every sense of the word. He is so smooth and so intelligent and cunning. Mm-hmm. And I love all of the other characters in that too, because Maid Marian doesn't let herself be a maiden in distress or anything like that. But Atlantis, I remember when Atlantis came out, and I don't think it gets as much credit as it deserves. Mm-hmm. Because you have Milo Thatch, you have Princess Kida, who should be a Disney princess because she fits all the criteria in being human. She was born into royalty, and she also commits acts of bravery, so she covers 2 of the 3 things that you can do to be a princess. But going back and forth, I'd have to go with Robin Hood.
Yes.
Just because, as much as I love Atlantis, it kind of got ruined by the direct-to-DVD sequels.
Oh,
it was supposed to be a TV show, and it's very obvious that it's a TV show.
Right. So I personally have more experience with Robin Hood than Atlantis because we had a lot of Disney movies on VHS growing up and DVD. But we never had Atlantis. I've seen it like a couple times when I was younger. I haven't watched it in a while. Maybe my opinion will change. I kind of thought it was boring. But I always really liked Robin Hood. I mostly really liked the music and how it had sort of a folky tone that you hadn't really heard before.
And the fact that there's just the rooster comes in, sings a song, and leaves.
Yeah. Though I will admit that it's kind of one of those movies during the part where the time when Disney was bankrupt, so they just recycled a lot of the animation cells that they had.
Like the
And there's
dance,
a lot
the
of
dance
that.
is ripped off directly from
Yeah.
Jungle Book and Snow White.
There's a lot of that in Robin Hood.
It's
but...
so obvious, but at the same time, the way they animate the animals is really, really interesting because it's a weird combination of walking like humans and moving like animals.
Mm-hmm.
And they took so much care and time. Plus, Prince John as the lion is great.
Mm-hmm. All right, so next one, Brother Bear versus Black Cauldron.
I have never seen Black Cauldron
So it's
all the
Brother
way
Bear.
through. I'm going to have to go with Brother Bear. Plus, from what I know, Black Cauldron has an interesting villain. Because I've seen bits and pieces. I've never seen it all the way through. But Brother Bear, for me, it was a fairly interesting story.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember enjoying it a ton, but I did like it enough that I would watch it again. And I kind of want to rewatch it because now that I'm older, I'm having appreciation for things I didn't like when I was little.
Yeah, see, this was a little harder for me because I like Brother Bear more personally, but I know Black Cauldron is probably better. But Brother Bear, I love it, and also it has the greatest Phil Collins song of all time, On My Way. Don't at me, but just for On My Way, I will.
Have you
I will
ever
give it to
heard
Brother
David
Bear.
sing the one song that Donna Summer did for the Brother Bear soundtrack?
Wait, what?
He does impressions of all.
No,
of
the
people.
Donna Summer song. No, explain.
Oh, so there's like one song in there that Phil Collins wrote, but someone else sang, and I think it's Donna Summer, but that's probably wrong. I'm gonna look this up on my phone real quick, but it's a black woman singing this song about hang on, Brother Bear.
Brother Bear is a whole
music.
mess of things that they just put
It's
together
a
to try to
wonderful,
sound vaguely
beautiful
magical
mess.
and ethnic.
Great Spirits by Tina Turner. It's Tina Turner.
What?
His Tina Turner is actually pretty good. It's not as good as his Brian Stokes Mitchell,
Yeah.
but it comes on his Spotify sometimes, and I'll be sitting there, and then I hear him going, "And the earth was young."
Oh yeah, I remember that. Why did they choose Tina Turner? It's like how they had all of this like Native American chanting done by a Bulgarian choir because it sounds magical.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, Home on the Range versus Oliver and Company.
I'm gonna have to go with Oliver and Company because at least Oliver and Company has genuinely likable characters and a likable protagonist. Home on the Range is just mean.
Yeah, I saw Home on the Range once and I was like, this is terrible. So,
Yeah.
haven't watched it again since. All right, next one. Pocahontas versus Cars 2.
Oh God, Cars 2 is a truly
Cars
horrible
2
movie.
is so bad.
But it's also Pocahontas is highly problematic. We just watched a video about this.
Yeah, Lindsay Ellis's video on why Pocahontas was a mistake is excellent.
It's really, really good.
Would you rather have a highly problematic movie or a movie that's just garbage?
In all honesty, I'm gonna have to go based off of music for this one and go with Pocahontas.
That's
just
fair.
because
That's fair.
we have a karaoke machine at home. We have a Disney Princess karaoke machine. CD that goes in the machine, and I like to go through the entire thing in the princesses' voices.
Mm-hmm.
And there are 2 Pocahontas songs on there, and I like both of them. I have used one of them for an audition before.
No. See, I went with Pocahontas 2 because I like the music and also because I don't want to grant any dignity to Cars 2.
Cars 2 is terrible.
Because
I didn't
it
mind
is
Cars
so-
3, surprisingly enough.
Yeah. I haven't seen it, though I heard it has a weird anti-technology message, which is weird considering they're all cars.
They're all cars. It's like
So they are technology?
the way that they talked about technology almost felt like it was about steroids.
Yeah.
Like, it almost felt like, you know those stories of, like, it's an old baseball player who's working his butt off to stay in while these younger players are doing steroids?
Right.
It felt like that to a point.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I love Armie Hammer, so maybe I'll give it a try.
Yeah, he's, like, the main, quote, antagonist, although really it's more of a Lightning McQueen versus himself movie again. But this time he's, like, older.
Ka-chow.
Yeah.
Ka-chow.
But, like, I still enjoyed it just because it brought back some of that old charm that the first movie had, where it's like, we're enjoying small towns, we're enjoying, like, getting to know these characters, we're not forcing a spy story into an
Yeah, that was so
international
weird,
race.
because the first movie kind of had, like, a message and stuff, and was about, you know, enjoying the sort of slow things in
Taking
life.
time to slow down
And Cars 2 was just like, what if we put Mater, and we made Mater a spy? The kids love it. The kids will love it.
It is worth noting, they got Larry the Cable Guy to come back and do Mater for Cars 3, so I think he just had problems with Cars 2.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know why he would have had problems with it, since he was, like, first build and probably got a shit ton of money for it.
Probably. He does have some dignity. He does those heartburn commercials, but he probably does have a little bit of dignity.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so now we're going to move to the main bracket. So the first one, Toy Story versus Robin Hood.
I have to go with Toy Story. As
Yes.
much as I love Robin Hood, it's Toy Story. It's
Yeah.
the first Pixar movie. It sets the tone for what Pixar is going to be, has incredible characters all around, and it's so new and innovative that Robin Hood's recycling of animation kind of kills it.
Though I will say, if you rewatch Toy Story now, you will see some things in the animation that you're like, oh, no.
It's amazing how much better animation has gotten. It's like, I have a lot of younger cousins. We went back and rewatched, like, old VeggieTales as opposed to new VeggieTales. The old ones, like, they're all one color. There's sometimes a shadow, but not really. And then, like, today, they look a lot more, like, fake, but at least it looks more three-dimensional than this monstrosity of dark green.
Yeah, because in the times of old, they could animate things pretty well, but they could not animate people.
Oh no, the baby...
Sid is just as scary as the things he makes.
The humans in Toy Story are genuinely terrifying.
Yeah. It's just like their open eyes.
The first Pixar movie where they weren't really terrifying was, like, The Incredibles.
Mm-hmm.
That's like, oh, humans aren't scary. This is good.
Yeah, because they figured out how to make them not look like marionette puppets.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so second one, this one should be pretty easy. Bolt versus Tangled.
Oh, fuck Tangled.
Yeah, it's obviously
Bolt was a cute movie. I liked some of the jokes with it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's Tangled. It's Alan Menken music. An
It's
incredible
so good.
story. Zachary Levi as
I think this was
Wind
the
Rider.
first movie where they sort of returned to form after just
They had kind of tried doing
bad
that with...
movies for a while.
They kind of tried
and,
doing
like,
that with Princess and the Frog.
yeah,
but
like
also,
the Home on the Range phase where they were just getting repeatedly
it's like we're
kicked in
out
the
of
ass
we're
by
out of the
Pixar.
Renaissance. We've stopped doing those weird films in Buena Vista that
Mm-hmm.
people still seem to enjoy and got kind of cult followings. But Tangled comes back to, oh look, it's a princess story, but they're changing it up. They're not doing the same generic things that they did in the past. So
Yeah.
like, as much as I hate when people say that women in the princesses in the Disney Renaissance didn't have as much agency, they really don't as much, especially compared to today,
Mm-hmm.
when you have your Rapunzel, your Anna and Elsa,
Mhm.
your Moana.
Right. Because they really took a nosedive there for a while, and
It
I feel
was
like once
bad.
they realized that instead of trying to do the opposite of what Pixar does, they should like take some lessons from Pixar, is when they started to succeed again.
I just wish Princess and the Frog were a little better.
We'll get to that when we reach that one. All right.
Yep.
So this next one is Monsters, Inc. versus The Good Dinosaur, another one that's pretty easy.
Monsters, Inc.,
Yes,
of course.
yes.
Just because Good Dinosaur, it was cute. I loved how the water was animated because
yeah.
it looked
The
so
backgrounds
real.
in nature looked really realistic.
But it barely had a story.
Yeah, it clearly, what happened was that there were like 5 different stories that were written by
It felt
different
like
people,
a formula movie.
and then they felt really sloppily stitched together.
Yeah. It could have been something great, but then you have Monsters, Inc. You have John Goodman and Billy
Mhm.
Crystal, and their incredible voice talents. You have memorable characters that people still joke about and make references to.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just an all-around amazing story.
The Good Dinosaur, more like the okay dinosaur. Ahaha. Alright, so Ratatouille versus Brave.
This one's pretty tough for me because I love Merida in Brave as a character, but I have to go with Ratatouille.
Me too.
Because Remy is such a good protagonist. It takes place in Paris, which is one of my favorite cities in the whole wide world. And it also talks about, I love food.
I love food.
So
as well.
much. Like, garlic bread is my life. I got a loaf of white bread, and I have butter and, like, other stuff I can put on it in
hell
here
yeah.
now because it's a problem for me. And Ratatouille just... I liked it a lot. Brave was cool. I appreciate Brave for what it is technologically, especially because I went to a Pixar exhibit in Detroit over winter break this year, and I got to see, like, how they have to make certain, like, computer files that'll fix things, because otherwise, like, Merida takes off on her horse and her hair is behind her for about 5 feet before it catches up. you have crowds that are, the people are floating with their knees slightly bent, their arms straight out to the side, just floating behind the 4 people who they, like, took a ton of time to animate.
Oh my god.
And then there's also, like, they have to add water, otherwise it just looks like these tiny mountains around the bear as it's shaking.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a fan of Brave. And I know not a lot of people are, because I guess it's not like Pixar quality. I mean, if there's a Pixar quality, that would be something that you would hold something like that to. But I remember when it came out, I was super into it. And when we actually went to Disney World at that time at the Food and Wine Festival, that's when Brave was, like, still really big.
Mm-hmm.
And my friends and I were just like, we gotta get a picture with Merida. We gotta meet her.
Yeah.
And we finally did. And she had, it was so bad that I didn't know if it was a bad Scottish accent or she just didn't have one. And I was like, you have one thing to do. Like, you could be any other princess. All you have to do is, like, stand there with the costume and hug people.
But
Merida,
it is a Scottish actress voicing a Scottish
one thing that differentiates her. If you're gonna be any other princess, which you can be, you don't have to worry about the accent. That is the one thing that
I do
you need.
respect Merida as a character, though, because, okay, full disclosure, I'm not the biggest Frozen person.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for a number of reasons. Mostly I have issues with the fan base saying it's the best thing ever and has no faults. And then they keep saying all of these things that apply to it, like, oh, it's the first movie where the princess doesn't have a love interest. And I'm like, Brave.
Yeah.
Or they're like, and it shows love between sisters. And I'm like, Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah,
I remember
yeah.
when Lilo and Stitch came out, I was a little kid and I was still scared of aliens at that point, so it took a lot of coaxing to get there.
Yeah. I really love Ratatouille, though. I feel like people forget about it a lot, which is unfortunate. It came from that time when Pixar, I think the 3 best Pixar movies are, like, WALL-E, Up, and Ratatouille.
Yeah, definitely.
And those 3 came out around the same time, and they were so, so good. I think that's
Up is probably one of the best Pixar movies.
Absolutely.
Ever.
I think that's when people talk about Pixar quality, they hold those 3 up as the examples. So,
and
I don't know why
WALL-E
people
is
just
beautiful.
ended up forgetting about Ratatouille, but thankfully they're remembering it again, because
Which
they're
is-
putting a Ratatouille ride in Epcot.
Ooh, yay!
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited.
In the
Because
France Pavilion, yes.
I love going to Epcot so much.
Yes.
And now I have more reasons to go.
I know, I'm excited. All right, so the next one is 101 Dalmatians versus The Rescuers Down Under.
101.
Yes.
Is this live action or animated? I think
Animated.
it's animated. Because the live action one has Glenn Close. And
I
say
love
what
Glenn
you will
Close.
about, actors and actresses just, like, doing things that are clearly cash grabs. Yes, but Glenn Close is having the time of her life.
The time of her life, yes.
But even the original movie, it has this adorable charm to it. Like, the way that the dogs force their owners to meet is the cutest thing I've ever seen. And I have seen recent things about how it makes, like, Cruella's a villain when really she should, aside from the whole killing dogs thing, she shouldn't be, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, you know, that's not a big enough problem for me to not enjoy this movie.
Floyd Norman, the first black animator for Disney, actually visited campus a couple weeks ago, and he was talking about how 101 Dalmatians was the first, I believe it was the first movie that they did where they didn't hand draw every single cell. They did, like, sort of Xerox stuff because I think it would have been a pain in the ass to draw all of those Dalmatians over and over and over again.
Yeah, because they're so cute, but, like...
There's so many of them.
You have 101 of them that you have to pack into one
Yeah.
shot. Obviously, it's gonna take forever.
Yeah, and I'm not the biggest Rescuers fan. I mean, it's fine, but...
Rescuers Down Under has some charm, but just... It scared me when I was little, and that kind of made me dislike it for many years, and then I went back to rewatch it. I was scared of a lot of Disney movies when I was little.
Oh, okay. Also, Roger from 101 Dalmatians can get it. He can get it.
He's attractive now! And
He's tall. He has, like, that nice sandy hair. He has
He's
a
a
great
musician.
voice. He's a musician. He loves dogs.
He's just fantastic.
Yes. Yes. All right, so the next one, this is the first one that I think is really hard. It's The Little Mermaid versus The Emperor's New Groove.
Okay. I love Little Mermaid. It's Alan Menken. It's the first fully animated movie that kicked off the Disney Renaissance because we cannot ignore Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Who Framed Roger Rabbit's just too important. And I love all of the music from Little Mermaid. I'm one of those people who kind of supports the Broadway show because as problematic as it is...
Why is it problematic? Is it, like, the same reason the
it changes
show is?
plot things a lot.
Like what?
she loses her voice, and instead of Vanessa coming in and, like, that whole thing happening, and I understand why with that, there is a dance contest between all of these princesses,
What?
and then Eric dances with Ariel, and it's okay. Or something like that. It doesn't make any sense. But, like, they still give, like... That's the only issue I have with it, because, like, in Act 2, they have a lot of, like, Ariel singing her inner thoughts, and everyone's looking at her like, she never talks.
Mm-hmm.
This is weird.
I'll have to ask Albert about more specifics of that. Albert Coyne, our fellow Off the Lake Productions person,
He's a real life Disney prince.
He played Prince Eric, so
In the stage version.
I'll have to send some inquiries
But
about
you
that.
also have Emperor's New Groove, which is a buddy comedy.
I love The Emperor's New Groove so much.
It's such a good movie, and I love the relationship that's in it. And I love Patrick Warburton as
This
the
movie,
funny son.
yes.
I
This
actually
movie
don't
makes me-
mind
yeah.
I actually like Kronk's New Groove, the
Yeah.
direct-to-DVD
Me too.
sequel, because it has that weird, like, oh, we were clearly gonna make a TV show, and here's some episodes thrown together storyline.
But they did make a TV show.
They did briefly.
It was Emperor's New School, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was... So, like, Kronk he's a fantastic, like, side character. Yzma is Eartha Kitt, and Eartha Kitt is lapping it up.
Yes.
She is having the time of her life voicing this character, and it shows, and that effort comes through and is amazing.
Yes, she is excellent. And, like, this movie makes me a David Spade defender. I mean, he's not always funny, but this movie has still given me, like, the edge on him where I'm like, he may be in that Adam Sandler movie, but I feel like he's too good to be here. Even if he's not, but he was in Emperor's New Groove, so to me he is.
It also features an incredibly realistic family, because you have Pacha, who's kind of like overworked dad, and then you have the mom, who's heavily pregnant, and she's just like, what's going on? I know something's going on. And then you have two of the most realistic kids ever, because I did too.
So the thing with Emperor's New Groove, it's not only one of my favorite Disney movies, it's one of my favorite comedies.
Yeah.
So it makes this really hard for me. Did you choose Little Mermaid, by the way?
I'm gonna go with Little Mermaid.
Okay. So I really enjoy Little Mermaid, but it's just, I have more of an emotional connection to Emperor's New Groove because it's also sort of like set my sort of comedic tastes also. And I didn't watch Little Mermaid as much when I was younger. I feel like I probably should have, but I just usually chose Emperor's New Groove instead.
I was scared of Little Mermaid was the thing, but now that I'm older, I love Little Mermaid. And I still love Emperor's New Groove, so this was really hard, but I have to go with the Alan Menken music.
I think it's one of the only Disney movies where the music is solid all throughout of it.
There's not a single song in it that I don't like.
There's not a weak
It also
link.
has what is undoubtedly, like, the best villain song in Disney history. Don't tell David I said that. Because
David was Frollo.
He loves Hellfire. He played his second biggest dream role this year, and I'm never going to hear the end of it. He still hasn't gotten rid of that beard yet either.
This is a public call out, David. Shave the beard,
please.
Shave it off.
I got him as an anniversary gift. I got him a straight razor like Sweeney Todd has. And he's like, "Oh, I could actually shave with this." And he said,
"Please do it."
He said, "I'm gonna back down the beard." And to be fair, he is, but I just wish it would go a little faster because we're like 18 days away from finals. I'd like
David. This is a public service announcement. You need to get rid of the beard. Okay.
But also, if you really, really love it that much. Fine. Because I don't dictate your personal choices.
And that's very good. But also...
My brother suggested we get him a membership to Dollar Shave Club for Christmas.
We're sorry, David. We love you.
We do love you.
Okay, so this next one... It's so small.
Versus
this is Cars 3.
Oh, Zootopia.
Oh, absolutely.
No contest.
No.
Zootopia is a great movie. I love the voice acting. I love the time that they took to build the world. I love that... I just love the effort into it, and as much as I enjoyed Cars 3, I don't enjoy it enough to win out over Zootopia.
Cars, with the exception of 2, both Cars movies, I'd say, they're pretty good, but they will never be good enough to power over some of these other choices.
Yeah.
I really enjoy Zootopia a lot. I really admire how they just went there with the racial metaphors.
It could have been
sort of,
handled
yeah.
better than it was.
Yeah.
But I feel like this is definitely
if you think
a huge
about
step.
it for like a minute, then it falls apart,
If
and
you
you're
think
like,
about
wait
it
a
too
second,
hard.
wait, but they are actual predators. So are you saying that like minorities are actual predators? But like, but I mean, it wasn't out of malice. They were legitimately trying to talk about racial relations and the crack epidemic and things like that, which I really think is cool. Also, there are a lot of furries who are into it, which I feel like Zootopia knew that because one of
There's
their
no way
ads,
they couldn't
one of
know
their
that.
ads advertised the word anthropomorphic,
Yeah.
which is like the thing for furries, and also like, you know, the buff tigers who dance around the nudist colony.
The buff tiger.
The buff tigers.
Have
yes.
you seen that post that floats around like different places, but especially on Facebook? It pops up all the time where it's like, get someone who will treat you as well as this tiger on the
Oh my
subway
Lord.
would treat you. And it's like, please don't. We see him for 1 second and then never again.
Yeah. So our mutual friend Harry, I was talking to him and I was saying, "Hey, Harry, you know, sometimes you can get like really weird fan art." And what I meant was furry fan art. If you look up image search Lion King and Zootopia, and he's like, "No way." And I was like, "Yes way." And so I was like, "Seriously, image search right now, Zootopia." And he went, "All right." And then he did it, and it took no less than like 5 seconds for furry porn to immediately come up from Zootopia. I think I scarred him.
Which, on
But-
the one hand, it's a kid's movie, and I feel like we shouldn't do that, but also, it's your own creative vision. The biggest problem I have with Zootopia is that a certain comic that came out of it, but let's not talk about that here.
You brought it up, man.
Oh god, this
Look up
comic.
Zootopia pro-life comic, and you will understand what we were talking about.
The memes around it. There were memes of it that
Premeditated
popped up.
sin.
Yeah. You can express your beliefs however you'd like. I'm just curious why you chose Zootopia as your medium.
Yeah, interesting. All right, so another really hard one, I think, Sleeping Beauty versus Princess and the Frog.
Okay, Sleeping Beauty was my favorite Disney princess until I grew up and I realized that she was only in her movie for about half an hour.
Yeah, but I like it for Maleficent. is what I
Yeah,
like
Maleficent is one of the best Disney villains ever, and they don't develop her. We're going to ignore the fact that Maleficent exists as a movie. They don't.
What, you mean Wicked, but ripped off?
It's Wicked, but worse. Because I
Worse
love
Wicked.
Wicked. But, like, do they really need to use rape imagery for when she loses her wings? It's not okay.
No,
Anyways.
it's not.
Anyways, but at the same time, Princess and the Frog is an African-American Disney princess.
Mhm.
It has very fun music. I love the villain in that, too,
Mhm.
because you have Dr. Facilier.
He's so great.
Plus, this is really, really hard. I love both movies.
Mhm.
Because Sleeping Beauty, it gave work to, like, really well-known singers at the time. Like, the guy who voiced Prince Philip was the singing voice of Freddie Eynsford Hill in the My Fair Lady movie.
Mm.
And he's like...
that's another hot Disney prince. I think
Philip.
this is the competition of the two hottest Disney princes,
Oh,
in
God,
my opinion.
yeah.
Prince Philip versus Naveen. Oh, Naveen.
Okay.
I think I give Naveen the edge, so.
Naveen is hotter just because Philip is...
But he spends most of the movie as a frog, so...
His personality, though, is really kind of what makes him hot, too, is
Mhm.
just because he's there to, like, sweep you off your feet. He learns how to chop veggies, so he chops veggies to give her a romantic dinner because he wants to do this for her.
Mhm.
Honestly, as much as I hate to do it to one of my favorite princesses growing up, I'm gonna go with Princess and the Frog.
Me too.
And I have a really stupid reason for what the deciding factor was. For my 6th birthday when we were in Disney, we went to Cinderella's castle for breakfast, and I got pictures with everybody. And when I got a picture with Aurora, she was wearing a blue dress. And my favorite color is pink.
Oh, see, I was that kid who was kind of like, pink is for girly girls. I like blue better.
See, I was also like, oh, pink is for girly girls.
Yeah, so we were on the opposite side of that spectrum. I think I learned that from my older sister, Lev, from the Pokemon episode. She rubbed that off on me, but she became more of a weeb tomboy than anything else.
Yeah.
Who would Naruto run around. Love you, Lev. But I mean, I appreciate pink now, obviously, because I think that, you know, having that binary gender identification thing is really, you know, dangerous for the, psyche of young children, so...
Plus, some people just look good in pink.
Yeah. I wish that they would have compromised with purple, but...
Purple's such a good color. They should have compromised with purple at the end
Purple's
of the movie,
great.
let's be honest.
Yeah. Okay. So, next one... Winnie the Pooh versus Brother Bear. Which Winnie the Pooh is this? The Many Adventures.
of Winnie
Okay,
the
so this is
Pooh.
like the original one.
Mm-hmm. See, Winnie the Pooh was my childhood. I kind of have to go with
Oh,
that one.
absolutely.
And also, like, Pooh Bear was voiced by Ka.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a fun tidbit I didn't
Some
realize until I was older.
iconic music in there.
Yeah. It's a cute, charming story. It's completely innocent, and I just really enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to, like, as nice of a movie as Brother Bear is, I'm not nearly as nostalgic about it as I am about Winnie the Pooh.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so this next one, Bambi versus The Jungle Book.
I cried watching both.
Mm-hmm.
I have to go with Jungle Book, because Bambi is like an iconic movie, but at the same time, the whole death thing still doesn't sit well with me.
Yeah.
Like, I get why they did it, but now as an older person, I'm like, so they had to kill Baby's mom to move the plot forward.
Yeah.
It's the woman in a refrigerator trope.
Yep. It's very cute, though. It's a cute
Except
movie.
Bambi's mom actually probably was in a refrigerator at some point if the
Oh,
hunter was
no.
going for meat.
Oh, no!
But also, Jungle Book has fun music, the characters are memorable, and you have fun watching Jungle Book.
I prefer the live-action one, which is
I haven't seen the live-action one.
That's the only one where I like the live-action one at all.
Yeah.
Because the Jungle Book animated one, I have some problems
I couldn't
with, like,
hate
pacing
live-action Cinderella.
and the narrative and how it's just sort of wanders around. It's a bunch of bebopping animals having a groovy old time in the jungle, and it is
Christopher Walken.
it is the biggest product of its time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you were to point to a movie and be like, hey, look at this jungle movie, they'd be like, oh, that's cool, and they'd watch it and be like, what? Is this just a 60s movie that's just, like, in the jungle?
Yep.
Like, what is this?
Oh, they do. I wanna be like you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a lot of fun to watch.
Yes. Okay. So this one is extremely hard for me.
God.
Inside Out versus Hunchback. I will just say, Inside Out is one of my favorite Pixar movies, and Hunchback is one of my favorite Disney movies. So this is...
And both of them are just so incredible in terms of their animation. They're incredible in terms of story, the voice acting talent in both of them.
I would say the score for both of them would be, like, the top of their game, because the Hunchback score is obviously so beautiful, but the Inside Out score, it makes me cry sometimes when I listen to it.
Who's
like
your friend who likes to play ping pong? I sobbed during both of these movies, too.
Yeah.
I'm a total francophile. I have to go with Hunchback of Notre Dame. Plus, I've sung Hunchback of Notre Dame. I have this emotional attachment to it now. I screamed about everything happening in Latin for the longest time.
Yeah. Also, so I'm going to choose Inside Out, and for these reasons. Okay, number one, as we just did the stage version, I think the stage version is much better than the movie version.
It depends on what kind of mood I'm in, honestly. I have 3 versions of the Notre Dame de Paris story that I like. I have 2 stage musicals and an animated movie. And sometimes, if I want to laugh my ass off, I go to the French musical version because it takes itself too seriously, and as moved as I am at certain parts, there's also something hilarious about Phoebus singing about being torn apart while there's half-naked guys dancing in the background.
Oh my god.
But, like, the animated movie I love when I want to, like, be moved so much by what I'm seeing, whereas the stage musical, I want to be moved by what I'm hearing.
Right.
I've also learned I cannot listen to Hunchback on the bus to and from work. I learned that the hard way this summer. The finale comes on, and I'm sitting there, like, crying, and then I'm coming into the office, and my boss is like, are you okay?
Yeah. I would say... Let's see. The negatives of the Hunchback movie, I'd say... I don't have any really, like, negative things to say about Inside Out, where there are things in Hunchback that I think...
That are problems.
I'm
and losing to a bird!
And are much improved upon in the stage version. And also as someone who has dealt with, like, depression and mental illness, the way that they, give the message that, like, you need sadness in order to appreciate happiness just, like, hit me, like, in the
Inside
gut.
Out is just such a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we got it for Christmas. I had seen it, but I was hopped up on cold meds, so I didn't remember it. And then I'm sitting down watching it with my family, and I'm like, why am I crying?
Yeah. Oh, man. I'm gonna pause real quick, because I have to go to the bathroom, but when I come back, we will keep doing this.
Oh, it doesn't look good.
It's hopeless, absolutely hopeless.
You're telling me I'm losing to a bird.
And we're back. I apologize for my small bladder, but let's keep
It's not our fault.
going.
We had bubble tea earlier.
Yeah, bubble tea always
Bubble tea's so good.
brings the fluids out. Okay. So this next one should be pretty easy. Moana versus the Great Mouse Detective.
Moana.
Yeah.
There's no competition. Great Mouse Detective has a fun villain, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, you can't beat Moana.
No,
It's Moana.
at least in this one, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Toy Story 3 versus Dinosaur. Not the good dinosaur, but the movie Dinosaur.
Didn't his parents hate him or something in that movie?
I cannot remember this movie for the life. I've seen it a few times.
I remember the dinosaurs kind of freaked me out. I'm gonna go with Toy Story 3, because I remember the story. I am so...
It's not my favorite Toy Story, but it's still pretty damn good.
I love how on Rotten Tomatoes it's Toy Story 1, 100%, Toy Story 2, 100%, Toy Story 3 is 99%. But it's still a Toy Story movie. You can't go wrong with the Toy Story movie.
Yeah, the way I remember Dinosaur is that, so there was this, I think it still exists, this, like, place where you get your haircut if you're, like, a kid, and there would be, like, the chairs you would sit on would be, like, these animal things, and they would always play a movie. I only really remember Dinosaur because they would play it there a few times. So I kind of remember it.
I think
like,
it was on
half
TV
remember it
once.
from when I was getting my haircut, like, once.
Yeah.
So...
It's just not a very... I should go back and rewatch that, probably. Just because I didn't enjoy it when I was little, but I also didn't enjoy a lot of the Disney movies, because, like, Flotsam and Jetsam and The Little Mermaid scared me.
Mhm.
And then you have just, like, everything scared me. I was scared of the Beast and Beauty and the Beast.
Oh.
And funnily enough, I was not scared of Snow White or Sleeping Beauty, which are two arguably fairly, like, terrifying, because you have the dragon in Sleeping Beauty, and in Snow White you have, like, the terrifying imagery of, like, she's in the dark forest, and then the evil queen turning into the hag, and, like, her hands changing. That was what weirded me out, was the hands changing. But, like, everything else I was surprisingly okay with. But I couldn't handle the Beast because he growled.
Yeah. Oh, I think I remember why I didn't watch Little Mermaid a lot, because I was terrified of anything, like, related to vomit. And so the guy gets seasick at the beginning, and I was like, nope! And then I would turn it off and walk away.
That makes sense, honestly.
Okay, so... Oh, this one is extremely easy for me. Winnie the Pooh, the new one, versus Mulan.
Mulan.
Yes, Mulan is... It might be my favorite.
Mulan, also incredible music,
Mm-hmm.
which you can't ignore. And
It's another one where all of the music is solid. It hits every single one.
Please bring honor to us, please. Have you seen, there's this adorable video of these girls in China, and they're singing that song in Mandarin.
That sounds so
And they, like,
cool.
have the costumes and everything, so you have a woman with you have this, like, 8-year-old with old age makeup on, they're, like, tutting her friend in Mandarin.
so cool.
It is the cutest thing
I need
I've
to
ever
see that.
seen.
Okay.
I think I saw it on Facebook. I don't know if I could ever find it again.
Right, this next one is super easy too. Up versus Sword in the Stone.
As much as I love Sword in the Stone, like, to and fro, stop and go. And Mad Madam Mim is a fantastic villain. She needs to get more credit, but it's Up.
Yeah, I mostly remember Merlin.
Merlin was fun. Madam Mim was fun. Nobody else was really, like...
But Up is one of the most, like...
The animation is beautiful. The story is incredible. The first 10 minutes make you burst into
It was
tears.
the first time I ever cried watching a movie, was watching Up, I believe.
Yeah, the first time I saw Up, my brother's an Eagle Scout, and my dad is his troop leader and everything, and he's also an Eagle Scout. So Boy Scouts is big in our family, and when they were in Cub Scouts, Up came out. So they took all of the Cub Scouts on an outing to see Up, because they knew that Russell was a wilderness explorer scout, and they were like, oh look, it's a Boy Scout, and it's a Cub Scout, Boy Scout in a movie, we should go see this.
Did they all cry?
Half of them didn't know what was going on. I think I was in, like, 50.
Can we talk about how at the beginning of that Disney movie there's a miscarriage and she's, like, sterile?
I don't know if there's a miscarriage.
Infertile?
But yeah,
I think she's
infertile. And that's really heavy for a kid's movie, but they handle it so well.
Yeah.
And, like, just the beauty
Oh,
of
the
that.
score.
The music.
That also makes me cry when I
It
hear, like,
also
the slowed
has
down version
it also
of it.
has incredible characters that you just can't forget. Like,
Mhm.
but the funny thing about being in this group was I'm with a bunch of, like, they're first through 4th or 5th grade, and I'm sitting there. I think I was in, like, 6th grade at the time, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, I was pretty mature for a 6th grader, but I'm sitting there like, oh my god, they just went there.
Mm-hmm.
There's these little kids that are like, did she die? And they had enough to, like, be sad about that, but, like, all the parents and older kids are there, like, devastated.
Yeah. It also has, like, really fun and funny elements to it. Like, I love Doug.
Hello, my name is Russell, and I am a wilderness explorer scout. Troop, insert number here, Sweat Lodge 12. Are you in need of any assistance today, sir? And I've spent so much time with Boy Scouts. I loved this movie.
Yeah, I think Doug is probably... Because it was one of the first portrayals of a dog in a movie I've seen that can talk, that actually spoke like a dog would speak.
Hi there. My
Yeah.
name is Doug. My master gave me this collar so that I may talk squirrel. Hi there.
I was hiding under your porch.
Because I love you.
Yeah. I like Kevin, too.
Kevin
the bird.
does no lines, but Kevin is the most entertaining character in that entire movie.
Also, sometimes I'll just remember things about that movie, and I'll be like, hey, Elizabeth, in Up, were there dogs flying planes?
Yes.
Yes.
And they chew toys
Yep,
shaped
yep,
like bones to
yep.
chew.
Yep.
Kevin's a girl?
Yeah. So.
Bird is looking for her babies.
Yes. All right.
Plus the villain in that was just hilarious.
Yeah. Okay. We got Aladdin versus Fantasia 2000.
The only thing Fantasia 2000 has going for it is Bette Midler doing that one introduction. So I have to go with Aladdin.
No.
I saw Aladdin on Broadway
So did I.
within a year of when James Monroe Iglehart won his Tony.
Me too. I saw him. He was so good.
Amazing.
He was so good.
I still follow him. He's now in Hamilton. I still follow him on Twitter and Instagram and everything. And I follow Adam Jacobs, who's in the national tour on Instagram too. And it's a good story. There are some moments where it's like, they could never make this movie today.
No.
But it's such a good story, and I love every second of it.
Are we talking about because of Islamophobic reasons? Where they mention Allah by name? And if that happened today...
Tiny moments like that, yeah.
Our great president would say that it's a terrorist movie and then decide that Disney was a terrorist organization? Is that what you're talking about?
And also, like... There are some moments that could be considered insensitive, like the guy at the beginning, and the fact that he was voiced by Robin Williams.
Mm-hmm.
It works slightly better in the stage version, where the genie comes out.
Well, I mean, Aladdin is voiced by the guy from Full House, so...
Yeah, not the best move. I am looking forward to the live-action movie, though, aside from who they've cast as the genie.
Yeah.
Will Smith is a talented guy.
But he's not Robin Williams. It's much different...
He's not Robin Williams. He's not doing... They might try to do the Cab Calloway kind of thing.
As long as they just
Broadway.
take a different take that works in its own way. If it's Will Smith trying to be Robin Williams, it won't work.
Or if it's Will Smith trying to be a Broadway actor.
Yeah, if Will Smith just Will Smiths it, like Fresh Prince Will Smiths it, then he'll be fine.
I want to see Wild Wild West Will Smith.
Oh my god! Wild Wild West. That song is great.
The song is catchy, the rest of the movie is shit.
Yeah. It's like Space Jam, how the song is the
I thoroughly
unironically the
enjoyed
best part.
Space Jam.
Yes.
My favorite parts were the guy trying to get Michael Jordan back. I almost said Michael Jackson. It's just...
It's a bunny with tits. There's a
Yeah.
bunny with boobs.
We aren't gonna talk about that.
She has rabbit tits.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed Aladdin when I saw it on Broadway. It was so fun. And I remember I saw it with my high school, like, theater group, and we were on the bus afterwards, and my director was like, so, what did you guys really appreciate about, you know, the show? And one of us, it might have been me, honestly, went, PAX! And he was like, no, seriously, guys, I want, like, something serious. And then another one of the girls goes, PAX! And so he goes, all right, I want you guys to give me something that you liked about the show, not pecs. And someone goes, abs! So...
because we can't be mature.
He's definitely up there with the hottest Disney princes, though.
Yeah.
And can I just say, I know this sounds kind of gross with me, but when I saw Aladdin at Disney World, like walking around, he had a shirt on, and I was like, why?
Yeah. He never wears a shirt in the movie.
Also,
so it's
if
slightly
Jasmine has to
confusing.
wear a crop top, you have to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I love, though, is I also saw it on a school trip, and one of the things with our trip was we got to do a workshop with cast members.
Oh, so did we.
Yeah, so we had it, and one of the guys was an understudy for Hasim and was a dancer. And
Oh, we had a girl who was a Jasmine understudy.
Yeah, and then the other guy was an Iago understudy, and when we saw it, he went on for Iago.
Oh, wow.
And I still follow my instructor on Instagram, and he's gone on to do, like, there's some group in New Jersey. He's done West Side Story with them. He's done a bunch of other things, and he's doing really well for himself.
Wow.
I'm so happy for him.
I will say, though, I really liked Fantasia 2000 because I would watch it all the time when I was younger.
Both Fantasia movies are really creative, and I enjoy that.
I really resent when people say that Fantasia 2000 is, it's the worst one because of, like, the interludes between
It's
things.
not
because,
as
yeah,
good.
those are
It's
cringe.
not as good as the original, but it's
like,
still good.
The sequences themselves are so good.
You have to take the bad with the good.
Yes. Okay, so another easy one, in my opinion, Toy Story 2 versus Oliver and Company.
Toy Story 2, of course. Toy Story 2.
I think it's the
has
best Toy
Jessie.
Story.
Jessie's story.
Joan Cusack.
Oh my god. It's just a beautiful movie. You can't go wrong with it.
Introduces the Barbie stuff.
Oh my god, Barbie. I love Barbie.
Yes. I really like the sequences within the toy store. That's really fun, and I feel like the relationship between Woody and Buzz is better, and so I don't know what it is about Toy Story 2. I just think it's the best one.
Plus, it has a good villain. Because the Prospector...
Yeah.
He's great. Plus, you get the characters that stick around then, like Jessie and Bullseye.
Oh, I think you also get the alien guys.
The alien guys were in the first
Oh,
movie
they
because
were?
they were in the claw machine,
Oh, yeah.
and Sid tried getting one of them, and that's how he got Buzz and Woody.
Right. The claw.
That claw.
Okay. Frozen versus Big Hero 6.
I have to go with Big Hero 6 on this.
Really? I think we're gonna start differing more.
Yeah.
This weekend.
Just because I liked Frozen when I watched it. I do not love the mania that's built up around it. Plus, as much as I like the music, it's not the best Disney music there's ever been. There's a few songs that I forget are in there. Whereas Big Hero 6, they took this time to build an incredible universe and give an incredibly human story about a guy. This kid loses his brother, loses his invention. His world is falling apart, and he works with this robot because that's all that he has left.
Baymax is so cute.
Baymax is adorable.
I just want a Baymax, and I want to hug him, and I want him to pet a cat and say, fluffy baby.
Yeah. I want a Baymax. And also, they built San Francisco, I think that's the name of the city, and it is a beautiful fusion of two cultures, and the time and effort they took into doing that. Plus, I love seeing those things online where it'll look at side characters. Like, I don't remember her name. She had a headband, she was a scientist, and she was like a chemist.
Was it Honey Lemon?
It was Honey Lemon. And, like, she has the periodic table on her bag, and she, like, inputs the formulas of what she needs and then uses it. And just the side characters. Plus, it has an incredibly human villain. Like, the villain is super compelling, and he's doing the wrong thing, but it's kind of for the right reasons.
Yeah.
You can't... It's just really, really... It's a human story, which I love.
Now, personally, I really like Big Hero 6 also, but I really, really, really loved Frozen. I think it came at a right time also, because... Okay, something weird that I remember about Frozen is that they thought it was going to flop.
I don't know why people thought it was going to
They
flop.
thought it was going to flop. There was, like, no advertising for it. There was no merchandise anywhere for it.
Until it happened.
Yeah, because I remember my sister and I, we got, like, free passes or something to go see. I think we were going to see Thor: The Dark World, and we did see it. I believe it was something like that. It came out around the same time. And Frozen was also in the same theater, and we were like, oh, that's out now?
It's like, oh, that
It's like,
happened.
maybe we'll see that in a bit, and...
Well, because all you ever saw was that tiny thing of, like, Olaf on the ice, and Sven would try to eat his nose, and that was all you ever seen.
Yeah. because they thought it was going to fail so hard, I believe. And then I think that a lot of the Frozen mania right now is just overcompensation.
Yeah.
Because they were
didn't
like,
build up
oh
to the-
shit, this is a huge, massive success.
It's made more money than, like, any Disney movie other than Snow White if we count inflation. But, like...
And I think it's a really excellent movie. I think it's really well done. I really love the music, personally. I really enjoy the Lopez's style, how they do it. I don't love Fixer Upper, but that's the only one that I think is kind of eh.
The one you don't... I love the honest trailer for
Yeah.
Frozen. It's like, you've got the different songs, generics.
There's a sound of love.
Little bit of love!
Also, I think it's a travesty that they don't have Jonathan Groff, like, sing a proper song.
Yeah. The big thing with Frozen, though, is...
Travesty!
The Broadway musical's out now.
It's getting mixed reviews,
It's
right?
getting very mixed reviews. And some of them are calling it really twee, which I can totally see.
It's
I
not
wish-
Wes Anderson. How is it twee?
Like, the Olaf and Sven puppets especially are very, oh, aren't we precious?
Oh, okay.
And things like that. They do try to build up characters, but at the same time, they're beefing up other characters too. It's like, to me, it reminds me of when Meet Me in St. Louis went from being a movie to being a stage show, where it's like, oh, we have to create more than just these one or two characters, so let's give more songs. But then they're still writing more songs for the people who'd had tons of songs to begin with.
Right.
So it's like, did you really fix that much?
Yeah.
I'm kind of hoping that, like, if Frozen doesn't do as well as they'd hoped, maybe they take it off Broadway for a bit, rework some things, and do a tour. Because some things are better when they go on tour than they are on Broadway.
What's one that... I was thinking of one that got huge on tour that was, like, not great.
Was it a Disney show?
It might have. Well, one that it's kind of similar, but the Tarzan Broadway show, it flopped so hard.
But community theater groups are doing a lot with it
but
now.
it's been running in Germany since it opened in 2008. So...
Germany does really well with Disney movies.
They really do.
Because they had Hunchback for the longest time, and now that Hunchback is closed here, it's going in Germany again.
We'll get back on my Tarzan opinions when we hit the Tarzan one. Okay, so next one is Dumbo v. Peter Pan, Dawn of Justice. Because I'd say these are the two most problematic movies on the list facing off.
If we're going to do racial
comparisons
it's not
here.
Great. I like Dumbo. It's cute. Pink elephant sequence scared the crap out of me when I was little.
Also, whenever movies have reactions like that to alcohol, I'm always like, you're adults. Haven't you ever had alcohol before? Alcohol doesn't make you do that.
It doesn't make you hallucinate. That's me on cold medicine.
Yeah, like, these grown-ups should know that being drunk is not like being on acid.
I just want to cuddle when I'm drunk. That's it.
Yes.
But at the same I'm gonna go with Peter Pan. Because Dumbo, I have to be in a certain kind of mood to watch it.
I have to be okay with crying when Baby Mine is sung because I cry.
Love Baby Mine. It's such a good song. But
whenever I hear it, I feel
Peter
like I
Pan
should
is
call
just-
my mom immediately after. It's like when I watch Lady Bird. If I want to get in that mood to really appreciate my mom, I will watch Lady Bird or listen to Baby Mine. And I'll be like, Mom, I love you so much. You're so influential in my life.
But I go with Peter Pan because it's a movie. I can watch it whenever, and I thoroughly enjoy it.
Yes.
Like, the racist thing is an issue, and I'm uncomfortable for that, like, entire thing. But We Can Fly, that whole song sequence as they're, like, flying, and, like, all of the pirates and Captain Hook all posturing, the mermaids, all of the magic adventures and everything, plus the animation on Tinkerbell. She doesn't say a single word in the entire movie, but you get so much from her face.
I kind
and her
of love
body
how much
language.
Lindsay Ellis hates Tinkerbell.
I enjoy Tinkerbell's a problematic character, but in that movie I thoroughly enjoy her just because she's there like, excuse you? The entire time.
I remember there was a big phase for a while in, like, girls' merchandise. You know, the
Tinkerbell
whole
was
big
huge.
limited to Justice, when those were really big. It was just a lot of sassy Tinkerbell merchandise.
They did Tinkerbell books, and then they made movies.
Oh,
based
yeah,
on the
yeah.
books. I have some of the books. They're not bad compared to some of the other crap I read when I was a little kid.
I don't know why they would make her a protagonist, because she, like, tried to drown Wendy, and, like, she was not nice.
Like, at one of the first book in the series, they're like, oh, Tink's been banished. Tinks lost her Tinker's hammer, and she has a spare one, but it's with Peter, and they're not exactly talking right now. And I'm like, this is why you don't make her your main character. But there's a fire fairy who works herself to death.
Mm-hmm.
There's a speed fairy, because that's a power or something, who's kind of a bitch, and she like has to learn to be nice every now and then. But the one fairy I did like was her name was Ronnie. She was a water fairy, and there was one book that kicked off all of these books. And in it, she cut off her wings and sacrificed them so that they could save Neverland.
Mm-hmm.
So then she spends the rest of the books unable to fly, but she does other stuff instead. Like at one point, she goes and lives with the mermaids for a while.
Mm.
It's what I wish the world would be like for people with disabilities, where she just does her own thing and like nobody questions it or anything.
Yeah. All right, next one. I think this is super easy. Wall-E versus Monsters University.
Oh, definitely Wall-E.
Mm-hmm.
Monsters University was It has plot holes when you look back at the other movie.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, it's Wall-E. Wall-E is so beautifully animated.
Yes.
It uses songs from Hello Dolly.
I think
The story is great.
I think it's one of the best like animated movies.
It's one of the best Pixar movies, and therefore one of the best.
It's one of the best
movies.
science fiction movies.
Yeah.
I think.
Wall-E, he doesn't say much, but he's still like the perfect protagonist.
He's
for the
adorable.
movie.
He's a little trash robot.
He's
You just
so
want to hug
cute.
him.
His relationship with Eve, and especially like watching Eve grow and change.
Mm-hmm.
Because Wall-E, even though he's a protagonist, he doesn't have much of a character arc.
No.
But Eve does, and the humans definitely do.
Mm-hmm. I know people have called it out on like fat shaming, but I don't think it's saying like fat people are gross and like all that. But I think it's a realistic prediction.
It's saying you guys haven't been working out for a while. You're
in
gonna
literally
have
hundreds
your
of
bone.
years.
Your bone density isn't gonna be great.
If in hundreds of years you literally never stand up or walk around,
Septua
that is
centennial cupcake in a cup.
Cupcake in a cup. Yes, it's a great one. And I really love that sequence where it's Wall-E and Eve with the fire extinguishers. Oh my god. And also the song Down to Earth. That's one of the few credits songs that I love. The Peter Gabriel.
It's such a beautiful movie. I need to rewatch Wall-E.
It's so good. Monsters University is okay. I don't think it's as bad as a lot of people say it is.
A lot of people hate it. It's not that bad.
I don't hate it.
Compared to Wall-E, there's no competition.
No. Not at all.
You could put Wall-E against almost most of these movies and it would win.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So we got Snow White versus the Aristocats.
Snow White is a groundbreaker. It features a princess, and the music is fun. As much as Snow White's singing voice bothers me.
I hate her voice.
I feel bad, though,
so
because
much.
the actress was so young when she signed the contract for this movie, and then she was never allowed to do, like, anything else.
Yeah.
Because Walt didn't want the vision of her being the voice of Snow White to be ruined.
Mm-hmm.
Then he proceeds to go and reuse a bunch of other voice actors, so that's not a problem. But I also love Aristocats, and I feel bad that it's out of the bracket.
I feel
so
like it was
early.
my mom's favorite, and so I watched it a lot, and I love it because also I love cats.
Yeah.
Everyone
But I'm
wants
gonna
to be
go.
a cat.
I gotta go with Snow White,
Just
just because it's Snow White. It was the first like feature-length animated movie with sound and color, and it's just a beautiful movie. It still holds up after all this time. Like as much has changed. Like you look at other Disney movies, and it's like, oh, this is definitely a product of the time. But Snow White still holds up. I will say though, in praise of the Aristocats.
Mm-hmm.
The old woman in it. I don't remember her name.
I love how she's leaving her inheritance to her
She's
cats.
leaving her inheritance to her
I
cats.
kind of get the villain's motivation because they're like, you're giving you're giving your money to your cats.
Yeah,
what are your cats going to do with it?
I understand that. But, like, at the same time, they could have made this character a crazy cat woman, and they didn't. She is graceful and elegant and smart and not totally insane. I mean, she's leaving everything to her cats, so she's not all there.
Yeah.
But they don't make her into a joke.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, you've got Thomas O'Malley the alley cat. There is one problematic moment in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
In the middle of everybody wants to be a cat.
Where there's just like this weird are the Siamese cats in Lady and the Tramp?
Yes,
oh,
that's
Tramp. Okay.
Siamese. The Siamese cats are in Lady and the Tramp.
Okay, so there's like this weird racist Chinese cat. Okay,
He's
can I
playing
just
the piano
ask,
with chopsticks.
what is it with musicals and musical theater and like being really racist against the Chinese? Like specifically, why?
We had
Why?
a show discussion today for our theater organization, and people pitched Thoroughly Modern Millie, and while they understood the implications of the Chinese characters, nobody else in the discussion seemed to, and they seemed to be like, oh, it's fine as long as we're careful with it, and it's like, you don't understand!
No, it's so bad.
We have to be very sensitive
You
about
have
this.
to really, if we're gonna do it, which we shouldn't.
You can't be blasé about this. We have to take steps to make sure that, like, if we are going to do something as problematic as this, we have to be careful with it. And some people didn't seem to understand that. My biggest frustration today was people who came in and were unwilling to change their opinion the entire time, but I'm also trying to let go of my negativity over this whole afternoon.
No, I get it. We're just trying to detox from...
It was 4 hours long. There were 3 charities, like 8 plays and 7 musicals that were pitched or something like that. And we had to talk about things like inspiration porn, cultural appropriation. Someone suggested 7 Brides for 7 Brothers and had no plans to, like, subvert it or anything like that.
And then I was trying to tell people, hey, it's kind of problematic, and they were all like, you're just an SJW! God, they didn't say that, but that's kind of the implication. And I was like...
Which is weird in a theater group where normally we're so progressive.
I'm sorry, other OTL people who may be listening to this who are like, stop bringing it up, I'm not an evil person. None of you are evil people.
We love you
God,
guys!
what have we done? Okay.
It was an exhausting afternoon.
Yeah, so anyway... I'm doing Aristocats.
Yeah.
Also, I always...
So cute.
They made Creme de la Edgar look really good. Even though it was just like a cracker dipped in water.
Yeah.
I was like, that looks delicious.
I always thought it was cream instead of water.
Oh.
Especially because the creme part.
Oh,
Plus,
yeah.
cats like milk, so it would make sense. Oh, let's get
Cats don't
cream
actually
something.
like milk. They're lactose intolerant.
That's really funny.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the stereotype is that they like milk.
Yeah. I don't know where that came from, but...
Probably because kittens, like, you give kittens milk if you find them to take care of them, because every animal needs milk when it's born. It's a mammal. It's a mammal.
Yeah, it's a mammal thing.
It's a mammal thing. You wouldn't understand.
You wouldn't understand.
Oh, Eric is really, really wilty.
Who's Eric? Oh, your
Eric
plants.
is the darker plant.
Oh, I see.
I named them Eric and Raoul after the Phantom of the Opera characters.
Of course.
And just like the
Wait,
character...
Phantom of the Opera or Phantom of the Country Opera?
Phantom of the Opera.
Okay.
But just like their characters, Raoul is, like, pretty okay on his own, and he likes leaning towards the light. Eric is so high maintenance. I need to take care of him all the time. He's so needy. I'm watering him, like, 3 times a week, and it's still not enough, because the instant he gets a little dry, he droops, and it looks like I haven't watered him in 3 weeks.
When you use your scales and your arpeggios. Okay. This one is very hard for me. Lion King, Lilo and Stitch.
I love both of these movies. Both of them have good music. Both of them have amazing stories. I like the characters in every single one. This is really, really hard. I think I have to go with Lion King because the music is just so iconic from it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Lion King. You can't really top that in any way, shape, or form.
We'll get ready for a hot take.
You're going with Lilo and Stitch?
Yeah.
Which I think is totally valid. Honestly, this is one of the hardest choices. I'm just a Broadway whore.
Yeah. See, it's another case of the stage version I prefer over the movie version.
Yeah.
Oh, can we take a second to talk about the live action one coming up, which I really take umbrage with the fact that they're calling it live action when it's all going to be CG.
It's all going to be CG.
So there's going to be
It's not
nothing live in there.
It's like, the only way this would be live action is if you took a bunch of lions and
Yes.
filmed them wandering
It's
around until they
basically
did what
just
you wanted.
It's a different animated movie. Stop calling it live action.
Jungle Book was almost the same way, except they had
had one
boy
human
playing
character.
Mowgli.
So
Yeah.
that was their ticket.
The Lion King live action. Some of the voice acting I'm really looking forward to. Like Donald Glover, I'm really looking forward to seeing him do that.
John Oliver is going to be the perfect
John Oliver
Zazu.
is going to be the best Zazu of all time. But there's other parts where it's like...
I'm pretty
One of my big things
satisfied
is
with the
Beyonce's a
casting.
little old to be voicing Nala. And that's just a personal thing, just because...
Oh god, you've kicked the Bayhive.
Okay, I love Beyonce. However, as much as I love people, I have to admit when they're not the best cast choice for a role.
Right.
And the thing is, Beyonce is a little too old to play a role like this. And I get frustrated with this because I do theater, and I do community theater. And more often than not, I'm almost always playing someone who is older than myself. And I can act older, it's fine. I turned 18 the day that I was truly scrumptious and chitty chitty bang bang. So, like, I can play older. But every now and then, you get a role that's, like, finally towards your age. Like, I'm finally old enough that I can start playing these 21-year-olds, these 19, 20, 21-year-olds. And it frustrates me to no end when you have a ton of actors and actresses who are able to play roles their age, but you give it to someone older. That's also the deal with, like, when you have, like, 30-year-olds playing teenagers in high school.
Mm-hmm.
It's unrealistic. You're taking roles away from deserving actors, because when you're in that awkward age range from, like, when your voice changes at 13, 14 until you're 17 or 18 and old enough to be cast in older roles, you're in this awkward phase where nobody casts you because there's no characters written for your age group.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of, like, Grease, Spring Awakening, and shows like that, and even then they're casting older people to play your roles. So that's just my hot take on it. I'm sure her voice will be fine, but there's also younger African-American actresses who I feel like would do a good job.
I'm excited for Seth Rogen and
Yes.
Billy Eichner.
It's gonna be great. Just because you have to find somebody to fill in for Nathan Lane and I don't remember who voiced Pumbaa.
But they would those two I think are good.
They'll be good at the roles.
Stoner Pumbaa. Let's get into it.
Let's go.
All right. So I love Lilo and Stitch.
Such a good movie.
I love Stitch. He's cute. I have a Stitch doll. I gave it to Liv because she loves Stitch more than I. The music is excellent.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a musical, but
there's
a
music
Hawaiian
in
roller
it.
coaster ride and the opening song, I forget what it's called, are so good. But, alright. So let's move on to this next one where I will probably have another hot take. So this is The Incredibles versus Treasure Planet.
Don't do this to me.
Everyone
Why
always
did they
forgets
pair
about
some of
Treasure
these
Planet.
together? I don't forget about Treasure
But
Planet.
I love Treasure Planet.
Treasure Planet is such a good movie. It's such a good adaptation of the story. It changes enough that, like, it fits the steampunk space adventure universe that it's set in, but it still keeps the original intent of the story, and it's beautiful. I would say it's almost a better adaptation of Treasure Island than Muppet Treasure Island. And that Muppet Treasure Island has Tim Curry and Jim Henson puppets. But then you have The Incredibles. And The Incredibles is this incredible Pixar movie. Incredible Pixar movie. That was not intentional. It's this amazing Pixar movie about a family, and that's really what it's about. It's about this family. And yeah, we focus on Mr. Incredible a lot, and we don't really get to see a lot of the other, like, members of the family, but it's still all about this family coming together and, like, trying to understand where they fit in, because they've been made illegal, essentially. They no longer fit into society, so they're like, the older generation wants to, like, just stay quiet and be integrated in society and everything. At least that's what they tell their kids. While the kids are like, I want to show off my powers. This is great. I have this gift. Why can't I use it for something better? And I'm really, really looking forward to Incredibles 2. Coming down to these two, it's really, really difficult. But I'm gonna have to go with Treasure Planet.
Me too! I thought this would be just like a really controversial take.
I love Treasure Planet. It's so beautifully animated. Like, the way they've combined the CG and the hand-drawn animation. The voice acting is incredible. I don't remember who voiced... Emma Thompson is the captain. And she is perfection as the captain. And everybody in the movie, they gave their all. And it's really, really sad to me that it doesn't get as much recognition as it deserves.
I mean, I feel like part of what is a strike against it, that is a problem with a lot of other of these types of movies, is that it's not a musical.
Yeah.
I feel like if a Disney movie is not a musical, it has the penchant to be forgotten a lot more easily.
People tend to ignore it, and that's not okay.
Yeah, which is really, because it's so good. It's one of the most beautifully animated Disney movies, I think. It has this, here's a film nerd coming out. They use this software called Deep Canvas technology, where basically they sort of set up this environment on the computer. So they took the ship and they rendered the environment. They did the same thing with Tarzan, with like the vines and stuff. But so they made this model of the ship, and so they took that and they animated on it, kind of like, so they could like move around the ship. They wouldn't have to animate the ship every time. They would just have that already animated with the Deep Canvas technology, and just so it would be easier. And it's just such a cool thing to do. And In fact, Treasure Planet was a really expensive movie to make.
Yeah.
Because using this types of software and stuff, and it flopped, which I'm so upset about. Because, like, also Joseph Gordon-Levitt's in it, but, like, it is so good.
Everything, the thing is, Musker and Clements wanted to make Treasure Planet
they
for
wanted
the
to make
longest
it.
time, but they were forced to make all these other movies beforehand, and that led to the wonderful hot mess that is Hercules, and
Yes.
Lindsay Ellis has a video on this too.
Yes.
But Treasure Planet it deserves a lot more credit than it got.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to keep watching it for the rest of my life. Because you know how you'll watch something that has computer animation and you'll be like, this is so dated. That doesn't happen to me with Treasure Planet.
Yeah.
Like, it all blends together so smoothly that it's perfect.
I don't know why it failed so hard, though. I think it's amazing.
I don't know.
Also, my opinion on The Incredibles, it's great, though I think the third act is it's not as good as the first two, because I sort of like the stuff about the politics of, having being super and sort of hiding that, and then the end it just sort of turns into, like, that superhero thing.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, we gotta fight the bad guy!
Yeah. Plus, the best parts of The Incredibles are the moments that, like, nobody else really seems to remember or anything. Like, you don't remember the babysitter.
Right.
Like, Jack Attack is one of my favorite things.
Oh,
from
I
the
love
first
that.
movie,
Yeah.
especially because, what's the S stand for? For sitter.
Yes.
I was going to put a BS for babysitter, but you know why I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
And honestly, my favorite part of the Incredibles movie is Edna.
Mm-hmm.
All of the scenes with Edna are sheer perfection because it's director Brad Bird playing a woman. And I love that it looks like in the second movie they're going to give her a bigger role.
Right.
Just because everybody else kind of is a cardboard cutout of their role. Like, you have the doofy dad who works his office job, but he's having a bit of a midlife crisis. The mom who's overworked and has to be flexible. Because they, like, all of their powers relate to who they are as characters.
Right.
And so, like, the mom who's just like, I love and support my husband no matter what. I wish I could do this. I wish I could do this. Dash is a stereotypical little kid. Violet is middle school me. And Jack's just a baby. But so they're, like, all cookie cutter characters. But then you have Edna, who is tiny and fabulous.
Mm-hmm.
And just... She has a dark past, because her costumes have gotten people killed.
Yeah.
But that doesn't stop her from continuing to aspire to greatness.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact...
I never thought about that, yeah.
And the fact that, like, she's continued building her fashion empire even though she can't design for heroes anymore. She's like, I just got back from Milan, darling.
Okay.
It's a good movie, but not as good as Treasure Planet.
Yeah. All right, so Finding Dory versus The Rescuers.
Finding Dory.
Yeah, me too.
I don't remember The Rescuers that well. I know The Rescuers movies always freaked me out because there would always be an animal who was, like, a villain, and it was always animated, like, really cruelly and terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Finding Dory, by no means is it as good as Finding Nemo.
No.
No, but it's still a cute movie. It has fun characters. Will you remember them after the movie? Maybe, maybe not.
Yeah.
But you have fun watching it. And the whole Dory with her parents thing was done really, really well. And it was really, really cute. And I just enjoyed every second of watching it. Whereas The Rescuers, it kind of freaks me out. And also, like, which animals are good and which animals are bad. And it's just confusing. And it's from that weird time where it's no longer the first golden age of Disney.
Right.
You're just stuck in this awkward place.
Like, the 80s were not good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Finding Dory gets a bad rep. Because,
People
obviously, it's
not
not
gonna be
as good as Finding Nemo, but what can be, that's
seriously
amazing. But I thought it was one of the funniest Pixar movies that there's been.
Hank the Octopus.
Just the sequence with them going through, like, the touching pool is one of the funniest sequences Pixar has ever done.
And they did such a good job with this one, too, of putting it in the point of view of a fish. Like, that was one of the fun things about Finding Nemo was, like, in the bag, and, like, you could see all of that. But this one especially, you got to see that because of the in the pool sequence, and, like, when she's looking for her parents in these giant tanks, and everybody's swimming around her. The cinematography for it was beautiful, and they took advantage of the technological advances that had happened since Finding Nemo to really make it beautiful.
Yeah. Also, it is completely my sense of humor for just that truck in slow motion driving off the bridge to What a
Oh my-
Wonderful World, just for no reason. I just...
Or putting the otters across the
Yeah.
roads.
That's completely my just weird, like, sense of humor where I'm just like, I see trees of green as everything's just, like, exploding and
It's
going...
like that scene in Madagascar where he's
Oh,
doing,
he's doing
tumbling
it?
down the hill through cacti and rocks and other stuff, and What a Wonderful World is playing.
I also think that it's really impressive because Dory, with too much exposure and done wrong, could have been the most annoying movie with the... It could have been
They
Cars
never
2.
crossed that
It could
line,
have been
thankfully.
Cars 2.
Oh god.
Because, you know, Mater and Dory aren't that different in the function they serve in their narratives.
You've got your generic male lead who needs to loosen up or whatever, and then Dory and Mater are both the goofy, maybe not the smartest characters, but they have good hearts, and they're gonna stick with you no matter what.
Her short-term memory loss could have gotten old really fast, but I think that they made it...
go too far with it
No.
at all.
Okay, good. So, Pocahontas versus Pinocchio.
Pinocchio.
Yeah, me too.
Pocahontas is an okay movie. It's very, very problematic, but I like the music. But Pinocchio, you have some of the most iconic Disney songs in it. You have some of the most iconic Disney screen moments. You've got memorable characters. You have a fun, compelling story, and the hand-drawn animation is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, really, I knew Pocahontas was going to be dead in the water soon.
Yeah.
And I'm glad it's losing out to something like Pinocchio, which is a cute, terrifying, if you think about it too much, story.
Right.
But it's fairly harmless. And
I used to watch Pinocchio a lot.
Yeah.
That was one of the VHSs both my parents had and my grandparents had, so when I would go over to their house, I would, like, watch
and
it.
I'd be like, oh, Pinocchio's here too.
Yeah. And I thought it was fun, and then I rewatched it when I was older, and I was like, oh my god.
Terrifying.
Oh my god.
You don't realize how scary it is when you're a little kid that these boys are getting turned into donkeys and
Sold into slavery at the salt mines.
What I want to know is, though, somebody raised a good point with this. I don't remember who. It was a YouTube video, I'm pretty sure. Pinocchio stops being a donkey when he gets... No, this was about in a Geppetto review by Musical Help. Just Pinocchio...
Geppetto.
Yeah, we don't talk about Geppetto.
Oh my God.
Drew Carey does, but he's the only one. But, like, I forgot Pinocchio in the animated movie is still a donkey when he gets out of the sea. That, like, doesn't go away. It's charming and terrifying at the same time.
Wait, how does he get turned into a donkey if he isn't even a human? To have, like...
I don't know.
Wood can't turn into a donkey?
I don't know. It works if you don't think about it too much.
I guess that applies to a lot of these, but... Yeah, Pinocchio. I also have some, like, weird things with the way Geppetto's mind works, where he's like, oh, I have a new child who was literally just born into this world. Well, off to school the next day. See ya, son.
And
Like,
the town doesn't question it.
Also, it's not like Pinocchio knows how to get to school.
Oh,
he was
he's
just
assuming
born.
He'll get to school and be fine, and that's clearly not what happens.
I don't think that he, like... How does he even assume Pinocchio knows what a school is? What if he just walks into a shop and is
first,
like,
like,
is this school? Like,
The first 3 months should have been, this is this, and this. It's like that Jenna Marbles video. This are this, and this are this. This
Yes.
are this, and this are this.
mhm.
I need something to chew. What can I chew on?
Yeah. So, I don't know why Geppetto's first thought was, I'll just send him off to school the next day. I thought he wanted a son to, like, have around. Not just be like, ugh, get out of here.
Go to school.
Yeah. Anyway, alright, Lady and the Tramp versus Tarzan.
This one's rough. I like Lady and the Tramp. It's cute. It scared me a little when I was younger because the rat scared me.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't great with rodents at the time, and it was just so terrifying and everything. Tarzan also scared me when I was little because Sephora the leopard or whatever his name is, and him plus what's his name? British guy with the gun.
Ooh, I know what you're talking about, but I don't remember
I
his
can't
name.
remember his name. It's a very generic. I feel like I want to say Raymond, but I know it's not Raymond.
Mhm.
But he also scared me a bit. So both of these movies were terrifying to me. Lady and the Tramp is a classic movie, but the only thing from it that I've ever really enjoyed is the song Bella Notte
Mhm.
and the Italian restaurant that's designed around it in the Magic Kingdom.
Mm.
Whereas
Right.
Tarzan, I like a lot of the music from it. Because you've got You'll Be in My Heart, Strangers Like Me.
Yeah. Son of Man,
Son of
Two
Man.
Worlds.
Yeah. It's just such... The music, it's Phil Collins, and
Yes.
so everybody talks shit about it, but
Yeah,
it's
okay.
still good music.
Here's a confession from me.
Mhm.
The reason I didn't like this movie when I was younger,
Yeah.
I did not like Phil Collins' voice.
It's
I
one of those-
hated, and I still don't like You'll Be in My Heart, but I love all the other songs.
I was fascinated by weird voices when I was little. So the Shrek 2 soundtrack had Little Drop of Poison on it,
Mhm.
and I was fascinated by it. I've always been fascinated by unusual voices,
Mhm.
and now that kind of carries over to now, except now I also know technical things.
Right.
So I get annoyed over things like Idina Menzel still spreads her mouth out when she sings, and so she sounds 10 years younger than she actually is, and she's going to blow her voice out.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of cynical about that, but I'm gonna go with Tarzan on this
Mhm.
because Lady and the Tramp is memorable for a few reasons, but people remember a lot more from Tarzan.
Yeah. Fun fact, I had not watched Tarzan for years until we were, like, paired up in our organization with, like, you know, sort of younger members, sort of get them acclimated
It's like
to
bigs
the...
and littles in
Yeah.
sororities and fraternities, but we call them high five buddies.
Yeah, and we get sort of a theme for an event, and we dress up. And so my buddy and I, we were Tarzan and Jane. And I was like, I guess I need to relearn what Jane, her deal is. And so I rewatched the movie, and I was like, oh my god, I can't believe I was sleeping on this for so long.
Because Jane is a fantastic
Mhm.
character. Her father's a fantastic character.
It's so well
The
animated.
gorillas have great characters. Because you would think in a movie like this, when it's focusing on Tarzan, you would worry that the animal characters would become generic to make room for the humans, but they don't.
In Strangers Like Me, when the end is happening, I want to know, and it's like the drum, dun, 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 and it's like all the slides, and it's like, dun, and then it's like a slide of a human being. I legitimately got chills. Like, it's so well utilized, and the music is so good.
The visuals are fantastic. The music is great. The characters are fantastic.
I
The voice
think,
acting
yes.
for it is great.
I think that Tarzan and Jane are the sexiest couple. Because, like, they're not one of those couples where it's like, I love you. They're one of those couples
They
where
don't
they look
fall
in
in
each other's
love
eyes and you're like,
immediately.
oh, they want to bang. Like, they're one of those.
I also love too that they give their relationship time to grow,
Mm-hmm.
because that is a thing with Disney movies that's a problem. Is you'll have, oh, we're in love now, isn't it wonderful? And you're just there like, I guess.
I wish Enchanted was on this list so we could talk about that more.
Enchanted is such a good movie. But Tarzan, like, they spend months together,
Mhm.
and their relationship grows, and they get a mutual appreciation for each
But
other.
I feel like their relationship is more based upon, like, oh, damn, you're hot.
It is it is one of the more, like, you can tell that there's more physical attraction, because everybody else is just like, oh, pretty face, and I'm also emotionally attached
No,
to
but
you.
But I remember when she, like, first falls into his arms, she's like, oh, and just, like, feeling his arms and, like, his abs and
And
stuff.
Minnie Driver's voice
Yeah.
acting for the role is Minnie Driver. We do not deserve her.
Yeah, so I like that. Also, I would like to take the second to talk about the Tarzan stage adaptation,
Yes.
which failed spectacularly. And there are some elements that I really like about it, but some I get, because if you've listened to the soundtrack, there are some serious problems, and they sort of made it lamer. I think mostly in Strangers Like Me, where they toned down the drum, and after the bridge, how it immediately goes from, there's a world I need to know, and it's like, like, it goes hard. Instead, in the Broadway version, it takes it down for a second. It goes to, like, a Jane verse that's, like, more classical musical theater, and it's like, you killed the momentum.
Mhm.
And it doesn't have, like, the strong drum feel, and also Tarzan, his actor is, like, this sort of, like, Twinkie tenor guy, and you're like, that's not Tarzan.
Yeah.
He doesn't look like he's been raised in the jungle his whole life by monkeys.
It's like,
He looks
there's
like he
no
just
dirt
walked
on
out
you.
of, like, a musical theater dance class at Tisch, right onto the stage.
Walks on stage. Oh, were you just in an Old Spice commercial?
Yeah.
Why does
So.
Tarzan never need to shave?
Yeah. So many
He should have
questions.
there's so many questions, but let's not think about it too much.
Yes,
It's
we
a
have-
Disney movie.
We have other things. Okay. Cinderella versus Cars.
As much as I like Cars
Yeah.
as a Pixar movie, I'm gonna go with Cinderella.
Yeah, Cinderella wins.
As Cinderella, is a beautifully animated story. It was Walt Disney's favorite. She was Walt Disney's favorite princess because he saw a lot of himself in her for whatever reason.
Yeah, that's weird. Why would he do that?
I don't know. I guess a whole rags to riches thing. Maybe.
Oh yeah.
And
though she didn't really do anything to earn that.
She was kind and sweet.
Yeah.
And she worked hard and never complained.
Yeah, that's true.
She
should have. She really deserved
and
to.
And in the live action, that's very clear that she's a doormat.
Mm-hmm.
But in the original animated one, the music's good. Like, you don't remember it until you're listening to it again. It's like, oh, that song is from this.
Also, if you want to get an example of what it's really like to be on alcohol, the lyrics to Bippity Boppity Boo. It literally sounds like someone is trying to remember the lyrics to that song, and they're just like, yeah, that's what it sounds like. And also,
and nobody remembers the words to it, so that just makes it even better.
It's not until you rewatch the movie also later that you realize that most of the movie is the mice.
Yeah, which is kind of boring.
Leave the sewing to the women!
Yeah, it's definitely a product of its time, which doesn't excuse it, but it's kind of like looking back in a time capsule.
Yeah, but Gus and whatever his name is, Jacques, are really cute.
That was who I dressed up as with my high five party this year. And we were adorable. We got little dresses, and I had a jacket.
Did you leave the sewing to the women?
I did. She did sewing, and I did sewing. And we were both girls, so it worked out
So you did leave the sewing to the women?
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically.
That's good to know. Jacques, and Gus would... Jacques, and Gus, and the girl
Mary?
one.
I think her name is Mary, if I'm remembering Cinderella 2,
vaguely
right?
French. Also, the way they weirdly, redeem one of the stepsisters in a sequel.
Yeah.
It was like, I was ugly and no one ever loved me. And I'm like, well, you're also kind of a bitch, so...
Yeah. In the original story,
have you considered that maybe people don't like you because you're a terrible person and not because you're ugly?
That's very clear in the original fairy tale, but of course you have to simplify it for little kids, so you need to be like, they're ugly.
Well, obviously, Elizabeth, ugliness equals evil. I mean,
or if you're good and you're attractive, no need to be proactive. Good things will just happen to you.
What's that from?
That's from Twisted, a Star Kid
A
The Untold Story of a Royal Vizier.
Right.
It's a Star Kid musical.
They didn't get that was, kind of problematic until Hunchback, and they're like, oh, wait.
And they're like, oh, wait, all of our bad guys are... Oh, wait, Beauty and the Beast, though. Because Gaston was good-looking, but he was still a bad person.
Mm-hmm.
But look up Twisted on YouTube. It's really, really interesting, because it's kind of the story of the Disney company.
Fuck you!
It's a Wicked-style musical about Jafar, but it also tells the story of the Disney company, because it's like, there was a magic kingdom full of artisans, craftsmen, and storytellers. And there was a golden age, followed by a second even greater than the first. Mm-hmm. And then it fell into the hands of an evil sultan, and so they needed a strong leader to bring about the third prophesied golden age. And it's like the story of, they buy the kingdom of Pixar from Prince Ahmed. And it tells the story of, okay, Disney got off track, but then they bought Pixar, and they've been working with Pixar creators to bring back around, the golden age of Disney. So we've been getting better and better movies. We've gotten Tangled, Frozen, Big Hero 6, Wreck-It Ralph, Moana.
Right. Yes. Also, the song I Steal Everything is one of my favorite.
Twisted is just a great show.
If you don't know, they take the line that Aladdin says in One Jump Ahead, where he's like, I steal only what I can afford.
And that's everything!
And so they turn that into a whole song where he literally steals everything.
Yeah. The prince that Aladdin yells at the beginning, who then Raja bites his butt and then he leaves and you never see him again. He comes out and he's like, I can't believe that she thought she could sick her Bengal tiger on me and that there would be no political consequences, as if I were just some silly side character only here to demonstrate her reluctance to get married. And you're sitting there like, oh,
I steal everything.
Plus Jafar is played by Dylan, I don't remember his last name. But he's incredibly talented. He was Dumbledore in a Harry Potter musical. He was one of the gangsters and Egghead in Holy Musical Batman. He's done a lot of stuff with them, and he shines as Jafar.
All right, so next one we got Fantasia versus Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, jeez.
I'm biased as I was in a production of Alice in Wonderland in junior high. It was not the musical, but it was very fun to do. And also, it's a really trippy, and it's another product of its time, but in a different way, where you can tell that they were trying to get the hippie audience in there.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. As much as I like Fantasia, I love that they take classical music and the animation, and the different things that they do with it is incredible. But I have to go with Alice in Wonderland, just because they got so creative in making Wonderland. They managed to tell the story faithfully, but they made enough changes that they made it kind of their own.
Right.
And it's just so beautifully done that I really can't find much fault with it.
Right.
The characters are fantastic, animation's beautiful, just the story. You remember Alice in Wonderland after you've seen it, and I don't necessarily know if if all ages remember Fantasia
And
as
all
they're
parts
leaving.
of it.
Yeah, because like I remember Sorcerer's Apprentice. Was that? And then they made that movie.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
And I remember that there was a hippo doing ballet at one point, but I don't remember why. And Night on Bald Mountain. And I know there was an abstract art thing that they did at one time, but that's all I really remember from Fantasia.
Yeah, okay. And I have a soft spot in my heart for the song In the Golden Afternoon. I think it's so beautiful with all like the flowers singing and that range that I could never hit in a million years.
In the golden afternoon.
She can do it. I cannot do it.
I'm a high singing. That's soprano.
I am the altoist.
Alto-y.
So
alto.
I can sing Disney villain songs. In fact,
Unfortunate Souls.
In fact, the other day, for like a little performance thing that we do regularly, I did Mother Knows Best, and Elizabeth was my Rapunzel.
I just sat there to do her exclamations in the middle of the song.
Yes, so I can do that. But okay, next one.
Let's be honest, the villains have the better songs.
Yeah,
We have
probably.
Mother Knows Best, Hellfire, Friends on the Other Side, Poor Unfortunate Souls.
Okay, so Finding Nemo versus Meet the Robinsons. Oh, come on, no.
It's definitely Finding Nemo, but I feel like Meet the Robinsons doesn't get the credit it deserves.
No, it doesn't.
I hate having to kick it out of here because, make no mistake, Finding Nemo is one of the best movies that Pixar has done.
Absolutely.
It's a great story about, like, being a parent or being a child. Yeah. It's beautifully animated, fantastic characters. There's a musical at Disney World right now that's really, really good.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like,
it's like successful enough that people will know what it is.
Yeah, David is a huge fan of it, so I've heard all about it.
Well,
My mom
I'm sure
saw
like
it in
people,
Disney World
you know,
and
like
really
STEM
enjoyed
people, especially like you, really appreciate it. How it's like the keep moving forward stuff, and
yeah, they keep like innovating and doing new things with it, which is really, really cool. But Meet the Robinsons is so.
Oh, I thought you meant Meet the Robinsons.
Yeah, that's all Finding Nemo. Meet the Robinsons. Keep moving forward is a great message. The plot twist that he's the dad at the very end. And I love that they saved that till the end. It wasn't like a huge plot point. Mm-hmm. And then the villain is Goob, his roommate, and the fact that the bowler hat is really the evil thing. Plus, it has one of the most iconic moments in my childhood.
Is it the dinosaur?
It is the T-Rex with the bowler cap on it.
Yeah.
Because he stands there and it's like, why are you not kidnapping him? I have a big head and little arms. I'm not so sure that this was thought out too well.
Yeah.
Master.
Yeah.
It's just so hilarious. The frog that gets mind controlled. Mm-hmm. The whole revealing at the end that it's him and all these people are these people, and that Francine is the caffeine patch lady. It's such a good movie, and it needs to get more attention than it does, and it makes me upset that it doesn't.
I know. It's really good.
It's my phone
but I think Finding Nemo is just one of the best Pixar
movies. It can't
movies.
go up against Finding Nemo, because it's one of the best movies on this sheet.
Yeah, it is. All right.
It's just really, really rough.
Bug's Life, Wreck-It Ralph.
I haven't seen Wreck-It Ralph all the way through.
Mm-hmm. It's fine.
It's a cute story.
It's better if you're like a video game person, which I am not.
I know about video games, but I don't play them personally. Mm-hmm. I have to go with A Bug's Life. It's an early Pixar movie, so it was like the beginning when they were still testing like what they could do with it. Mm-hmm. And Hopper scared the crap out of me when I was little.
Well, he should scare you now, still.
He does scare me now.
Because
it's Kevin Spacey.
Because it's Kevin Spacey.
We have to hate everyone now. But he scared me. And then when I was
poor
little,
men.
Then when I was younger, when we went to Disney World on that trip when I was 6, we went to It's Tough to Be a Bug in the Tree of Life. And I'd had a bad experience with Honey, I Shrunk the Audience like 2 days before, and my cousins had seen it before, so they were able to help me do things like, okay, they're going to spray a poison gas, and it's going to be a sharp gust of air that hits you in the back. So when they say this line, you need to lean forward.
Oh,
and they would, like,
that's
help me lean
helpful.
forward. I kept my feet off the floor, because they would, like,
Oh, I hate
spray
that.
your feet so that it felt like something was happening to it. It would shift you back and forth. I'm not a huge fan
I don't
of,
like those. Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of 4D experiences.
It's just making you uncomfortable the whole time. I don't like that.
I also had motion sickness a ton when I was little.
Oh.
So that was a huge problem for me, is I would come out
get
of there
motion sickness
feeling
now.
so sick.
Yeah. I have that problem now.
And it was creepy, but like Bug's Life is such a cute story.
Mhm.
And like you don't think about it for a while and then you realize, wait, this was a movie that was a thing and I really liked this thing.
Mhm.
And the characters are adorable. The story's pretty great. The circus bugs especially make me super, super happy.
Yeah, I think it's funny that they couldn't afford to get Kevin Spacey to do the voice on the It's Tough to Be a Bug.
Yeah.
Because that ended up being a dodged bullet.
Yeah.
Is what we like to
They
call
can keep the ride.
bullet dodged. Actually they're closing it right now though.
Yeah.
But
It's been long enough.
because no one really remembers A Bug's Life, which is why
Which is kind of sad.
I
'cause
chose-
it's
yeah.
good to go back and rewatch.
yeah, I chose Wreck-It Ralph because I just prefer it. But
Yeah.
I remember the Bug's Life CD-ROM better than I remember the movie.
Yeah.
Mostly, so there's this thing where you would like sort berries that the ants would bring.
Mm-hmm.
So I distinctly remember red berry, blueberry, and they would say it every time they came up. So every time I have blueberries in the back of my mind, I just hear that bug saying
Blueberry.
blueberry, and I'm like, I know I shouldn't, but it happens every single time. Okay, we're in the home stretch. All right, we got Coco versus Fox and the Hound.
I haven't seen Coco yet. I really need to. I've heard it's
I
amazing.
love Coco.
I know the story. I love the story. I love the music.
The music, like, I feel like Pixar made a better musical.
What I've
than
seen that's
Disney's been making.
animated is just fantastic. But also, and Fox and the Hound is a great movie. It's a classic. But to me, it's always been kind of boring. Like, even as a little kid, when everything is interesting to you, it still bored me. Because, like, they build their friendship, and, like, the first half of the movie is just them, oh, look at what good friends we are. Especially when you're little and you don't understand that they want to kill Copper.
right.
I think is Copper the fox? No, Todd's the fox.
Todd's the fox.
Because a
Copper's
male
the dog.
fox is called Todd. And that's why they named him
Oh, okay.
that. Yeah. And so, I'm going to go with Coco here.
Mhm.
Just because it also is good for telling a Mexican story.
Yes.
And they included, like, racially accurate casting and everything. And I feel like it's going to have more staying power.
Mhm.
Nobody talks about Fox and the Hound anymore,
Yeah,
but I
it's
feel
not
like
good. That's
Coco's
why.
Coco's one of those movies that's going to stay around.
I
feel like.
adored Coco. I love the way it talks about family and the way it talks about music. It's beautifully animated. I've seen Fox and the Hound once. It was on VHS at my grandparents' house. And I remember just being devastated at the end of it. It is so, so sad.
It's such a story of friendship.
It's a movie that you watch when you want to just be sad, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I reached the end of it and I was like, why does this make me want to cry so bad? What happened to friendship? Why did this friendship end? It didn't need to end. And so,
It's just sad.
yeah, it really is.
There you go. Stop being a brat.
Elizabeth is watering Eric.
He's a whiny piece of... He's been wilting more and more as we've been recording this.
Really? You've,
Yeah.
been watching him wilt?
Like, because he was, like, about, like, this when we started,
Mhm.
and then he got bad, and now he's, like, in, like, 10 minutes, he's gonna be completely flat on the side of the pot, and then it takes forever, and it's just, like, stop being
What kind of
stupid.
plant is that? What is it?
I don't know. I got it for free at the involvement fair freshman year at
Oh.
college. I know that Rowell is some kind of fern. He's a lot easier to take care of. I water him, like, once a week, and he's fine. These are the closest things I have to pets, by the way, which is why they have names. I don't normally name plants.
Mm-hmm.
There
Okay.
we go.
So, the last one we're about to do is the hardest one for me personally. and that is Beauty and the Beast versus Hercules. Because I think Beauty and the Beast is objectively one of the best, but
Movies.
Hercules is one of my personal favorites. I love it so dearly.
I have a personal connection to Hercules. It
Yes.
came out less than a month before I was born.
Yeah, like
Plus, my first Easter, I got in my Easter basket, I got a lamb that would continue to be my favorite stuffed animal until I outgrew stuffed animals. And I got Hercules on VHS.
Mm-hmm.
And so I grew up listening to Hercules. I love watching the movie. The first song I learned to sing on our karaoke machine was I Won't Say I'm in Love.
Love that song.
And Megara is such a good character, and just Hercules gets a bad rap, but I thoroughly enjoy it every time I
think
sit
it's
down
one
to
of the
watch
most
it.
fun.
Yeah. It doesn't
Disney
try
movies.
to... It's not super deep, and yeah, there are some plot things that are confusing if you look at it for a long time, but I can sit down and just watch it and enjoy every second of
Me
it.
too.
I'm gonna go with Beauty and the Beast
Me
on this
too.
one, though. It's Beauty and the Beast. It was nominated for Best Picture, and that happened for a reason. It is a beautiful story, fantastic voice acting. Paige O'Hara is the perfect Disney princess voice as Belle. The Beast is a genuinely compelling character. They made a kick-ass stage version that holds its own out of it. The story's beautiful. The side characters are fantastic. The live-action one...
Yeah, I was gonna say everyone agrees that the animated one is perfect, but
The live-action
let's
one...
talk about the live action one.
Yeah.
It's a hot mess.
I love the side characters.
That's the thing, though, is that the side
I love the
characters were so
servants.
good, but Belle was so bad.
And I feel like Dan Stevens is an actor that I thoroughly enjoy, and I feel like he wasn't able to spread his wings on this as
No.
much, especially because he spent the entire movie, face capture.
Yeah.
And part of me wonders sometimes if the Beast's facial expressions are his face, or if it's something that the animators
Exactly.
added in, and that I don't like
I
him
get
having
why
that
people
line.
argue for motion capture performances being nominated for Academy Awards, like Andy Serkis and stuff, but I do have to
worry
say,
about-
you never know unless you worked on it yourself if that was actually part of what ended up in the film was actually because of the performance or something that happened in post that made it work like that.
Yeah.
So, I love Emma Watson so dearly. She does not have a good voice. I do not think.
No, and then they auto-tuned her to the point where even, I can tell pretty easily if something's auto-tuned. My brother doesn't have the same talent, but he immediately knew when we listened to the CD that she was auto-tuned.
Yeah. But I adored Gaston.
Gaston
Luke
was fantastic.
Evans was so good.
LeFou, I didn't like how they handled the gay thing. They made a huge deal out of it,
Yeah,
and then it wasn't even good. But it's Josh Gad, and
He
Josh Gad
did
is
amazingly.
110%.
He's a great LeFou. Him and Gaston, I think,
They kind of stole
they
the show.
stole the show. Yes.
As well as, Ewan McGregor as Lumiere.
Mhm.
I thought he was a really good Lumiere. You're never going to be as good as the original.
No, but Ian McKellen's a great Cogsworth, obviously.
hmm Plus, you have Emma Thompson as Mrs. Potts. This
Oh,
movie,
God.
in terms of side characters, though, we needed more Audra McDonald.
Oh my god, I was so
you
mad.
always need more
I was
Audra
so
McDonald,
mad.
but especially in this
But
movie.
they had Audra McDonald and they had her sing a half song all together.
They did the little aria at the beginning. She maybe had a verse on that,
In the final,
and then she
Beauty
had
and the Beast, it was
Tell
just
us
all this time. And then I went to Emma Thompson and I was
time.
like, you have the Tony-winningest actress ever
You have
in your movie.
Audra McDonald,
Like,
who is sheer perfection.
You're
in
using
everything she's in.
Emma Watson with autotune when you have an Audra McDonald right
And why
there.
are you auto-tuning Emma Thompson? Emma Thompson is a good singer. She's been Mrs. Lovett. That was the one thing that bothered me was people were attacking Emma Thompson, and they were like, why would you cast her? And it's like, she's a talented English actress, and if you're
Yeah.
going to pick someone to play a role originated by Angela Lansbury,
Yeah, she's great.
undoubtedly
I don't have
your
a problem with
strongest
Emma
choice.
Thompson. My problem is that
You have
they
Audra McDonald.
wasted Audra McDonald. What a waste.
Oh, we wrote an aria for her. That doesn't get rid of the fact that she's barely in the movie. Use your Audra McDonald.
You have Audra McDonald. Use your Audra McDonald. It's a more egregious violation of what I saw with the Jonathan Groff problem
Yeah.
in Frozen.
Because Jonathan Groff
he still gets to
he's still
sing
Jonathan
kind
Groff.
of a song.
Yeah.
But Audra McDonald is relegated to dresser who only sings
And she's asleep
little
half
bit.
the time that
Yes!
she's on screen. Back to singing, though. Emma Watson as Belle. I feel like even though she's not a good singer, she at least knows enough to put emotion in her voice when she's singing. And even if she's, like, sing-talking, they might, like, she's still, like, taking the time to show that she gives a crap when she's singing. But when they auto-tuned her, she sounded like a robot because all of the little, like, inflections that come from putting emotion in your voice, like, you can hold a note, but still put character into it, and it might change the pitch slightly, but it's still going to be the same note and everything. You're
Right.
just putting character into it, and they got rid of any semblance of character. And they kind of did the same thing to Kevin Kline.
Right.
Why are you auto-tuning Kevin Kline?
Don't auto-tune Kevin Kline.
He was the Pirate King in Pirates of Penzance. He can sing.
He can sing.
And funnily enough, Angela Lansbury was also in that with him, and it is a It's on Amazon, and I bought it, and it's a glorious thing to watch. Just the two of them playing off of each other as the Pirate King and Ruth.
All right. So now we're getting into some of the finals here. So this one should be fairly easy. Toy Story versus Robin Hood.
Wait, we did Toy Story versus Robin Hood. It's going to be Toy Story versus
Oh,
Tangled.
sorry. Yeah, I was looking at the wrong thing. Toy Story versus Tangled. Oh,
this
this one's
going to be
harder.
rougher. Personal preference, I'm going to go with Tangled.
I would agree with that.
Just because I love Toy Story. But also, I love my princesses, and Tangled especially did a good job with her as a princess, and I don't know. As much as I love Toy Story, I listen to the Tangled soundtrack over and over
me
and
too,
over
yeah.
again. And this is really, really rough. I feel like the rest of this is going to be very rough, but
It gets harder, yeah.
yeah.
Okay. I was about to say Mission Impossible because
Dun,
I wrote
dun,
Emma.
dun, dun, dun,
I
dun,
love the Mission
dun, dun,
Impossible
dun.
movies a lot.
Have you seen that video? It's a guy playing a clarinet on a stripper pole playing this.
That sounds great.
Mission Impossible. No, it's great because like it looks like, you know how Tom Cruise does that like sliding down. He's got a ribbon, and then so it's like he's playing the clarinet and he goes da 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 da, and he's like sliding, like twirling around the pole, and then it goes to him like completely horizontal with the ribbon holding him up, and he's going dun 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 dun
I
dun,
love
hacking into a computer. It's
Oh,
beautiful.
man. All right, well, I meant Monsters, Inc. versus Ratatouille.
I'm gonna get hate for this. I'm going with Ratatouille.
Me too.
Ratatouille, I really enjoy as a movie. I can't find many problems with it. Monsters, Inc., as much as I enjoy Monsters, Inc., I can't watch it over and over and over again. Just because I just get tired of it after a time. Like, as cute as Boo is, she gets irritating
Yes, she
after a while.
does. Yeah.
So I kind of have to go with Ratatouille here, because I love all the characters. I love watching the food being made. The music in the background as they're cooking is fantastic.
Yeah. Okay. So this one is going to be a little different for the both of us.
Yeah.
But 101 Dalmatians versus The Little Mermaid.
As much as I love 101 Dalmatians, I'm gonna go with The Mermaid,
Yeah.
which is probably the expected thing, but just, I love Little Mermaid. I enjoy the movie and the story and everything, and I could watch it over and over and over again on a loop, almost. That's how much I like it.
So it's going to be a similar thing with me for Emperor's New Groove, because I do like 101 Dalmatians, but the Emperor's New Groove, like I said, it's one of my favorite comedies, and it, like, sort of informed my comic sensibilities going forward. So.
Yeah.
Okay. Zootopia versus Princess and the Frog.
Zootopia, no doubt. Because both of them have their own problems, but Zootopias aren't as glaring as the lack of historical context in
And also the fact
Princess and
that
the
they
Frog.
had the black characters be frogs the whole time.
that doesn't bother me as much as like the whole pretending that race issues don't exist with like the white characters and everything.
I just want some beignets from my
Lindsay Ellis
favorite-
also talks about this in one of her videos.
from my favorite black-owned establishment on the other side of the tracks. What's racism? So, yes, also, I will say, I like the Shakira song, Try Everything.
Oh,
Yeah,
try everything.
Over the songs from Princess and the Frog, even though the songs from Princess and the Frog are amazing, I will listen to that Shakira song on a loop and just be like, yeah, I can do whatever I want. Let's go run a marathon.
Princess
Obviously,
and the yeah. Zootopia doesn't have a ton of music, but overall, with Princess and the Frog, the only songs I really like are Almost There and
Almost There's
Friends
great.
on the Other Side.
Yeah.
Everything else
is very Randy Newman.
and it's also very like I like jazz, but I don't like
You like jazz?
I do like jazz. I love jazz music, but I'm not one of those technical people who loves listening to the technical aspects of jazz and everything, and that makes me a bad person, so be it, but like
Yeah. My little brother is a jazz guy, so he would disagree with you there.
yeah.
But no, I get
That's
that.
fine.
Yeah.
You can disagree with
I
me
think
if you
Princess and the Frog, with the exception of Almost There, and Friends on the Other Side, has the what I like to call now the Newsies problem, where all of the music sounds exactly the same.
want. The Newsies soundtrack is basically, you know, in Shrek the Musical, that little tap dance break they have in Morning Person.
It's the whole soundtrack.
That's because like there's one part in Morning Person that's like dun dun dun
Yes.
dun 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 dun, and I always confuse that for the tune of King of New York.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like
If I have to listen 2 months of "It's a Fine Life, carrying the banner through it all," I am going to like slam my
that might
head.
be our musical next year.
I
We'll see.
don't want it to be.
I don't want to do 2 Alan Menken shows in a row. But it's kind of like okay.
Let us do ABBA.
Let's do ABBA, or let's do the guys that wrote Next to Normal and If Then, or let's just do
I'm sorry we keep bringing it up. It's still fresh. It's a fresh wound.
We've spent the last few days wondering what was going to happen at this show discussion, and now it's happened, and now we're waiting. I'm waiting to get the email.
I know
for
a lot of
voting.
people love Newsies. Harry, if you're listening, I know you love Newsies.
Newsies is fun to
It's
watch.
fun
I just
to
don't want
watch.
to dedicate like 4 months
If
of my
I
life
have
to
to
it.
listen to the music from Newsies as much as I listen to the music from Hunchback of Notre Dame, I liked the Hunchback of Notre Dame music.
I
It sounded
almost hated
different.
some of the music
Yeah,
from
some of it,
Hunchback by
yeah.
the end, and I
But-
love Hunchback of
But
Notre Dame.
the
Do not
music
get me
from
wrong.
Newsies can get really, really annoying. And if I have to listen to that for months,
The New York accents.
with the New York accents, I am going to need to take a small vacation and just leave
Come back for 10 weeks.
leave the area for a good amount of time to just like
Spend 10 weeks with
do
your
a Newsies
influencer.
cleanse and then come back and do it. So
It's like, I'm gonna go listen to some Next to Normal for a while to cleanse my
Yeah.
soul.
yes, okay. So this next one, Winnie the Pooh versus the Jungle Book.
Jungle Book. As both of them are very similar, honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, because they're both like smaller stories all coming together to make one big story.
Right.
But Jungle Book just it gets more creative with it. Winnie the Pooh is very childish and whimsy, and if you're not a child, that can get old pretty quickly. But Jungle Book, I feel like appeals to all ages.
I'm going to disagree with you here, because Winnie the Pooh holds a very special place in my heart, and Heffalumps and Woozles is a bop.
A Heffalump-for-Woozle is very confusing. A Heffalump-for-Woozle is very sly.
Sly! Sly! Yep.
Yeah, that is a catchy song.
If fun is what you covet, you'll find that. They love it. Mhm.
Cause lumps will make you cry.
Cry.
Cry!
Cry! Yeah. Okay. So you have Hunchback versus, what is that one? I can't see it. Moana.
I'm gonna go with Hunchback.
Mm-hmm.
As much as I love Moana, like, and I do love Moana,
Mm-hmm.
and I was hoping it wouldn't come to this, but, like, it's Hunchback of Notre Dame. It's epic in what it's trying to do. The animation's gorgeous, but the animation on both is gorgeous, but just Hunchback has this weight to it that Moana never has.
Right.
Like, as much as I love Moana, do not get me wrong, but Hunchback is just...
Right. So I'm going with Inside Out. It was Inside Out versus Moana for this one, because of all the reasons that I talked about loving Inside Out earlier, and also I'm one of the few people, this is another hot take, I thought Moana was okay. I didn't love it.
It's by no means the best thing ever, and I only like a handful of the songs. I was
Right.
more into, you know, if you change this character out for a boy, it would be exactly the same.
Yeah, I appreciate that, but I feel like Lin-Manuel Miranda's songs they're fine. I felt like he had a lot of reprises.
Mm-hmm.
And also...
He almost Andrew Lloyd Webber did.
Yeah. Rodgers and Hammerstein did even. But...
Now, Lord Andy's a million times worse.
Is he? Because the second half of Sound of Music is all reprises.
Well, Andrew Lloyd Webber will give a song a different title, but continue bringing it back.
Oh.
Like, for the entirety of Evita, the Don't Cry For Me Argentina theme keeps coming back. And it's traded back and forth between different characters and everything, and it's like he throws it in there when he doesn't know what else he's gonna do. Phantom of the Love Never Dies is especially bad, because you could tell he only wrote, like, 3 songs, slapped different lyrics on it, was like, there.
Yeah.
And then he even stole
Yeah.
from his past show to make it.
Of course. But I think that the plot of Moana, it was really predictable for me, I felt like.
The only plot twist
It was kind of like
she
checking-
chose herself to go back.
Yeah, I think it was kind of like a checklist for me, sort of like the classic Disney stuff.
Like, it takes you, like, 15 minutes to figure out what kind
Yeah.
of Disney movie it is,
And then you figure it out. And also, that tweet joke is the worst thing ever.
All of the eating animals jokes, like, when I saw it with my aunt, she's a vegetarian, and she was uncomfortable with all of the eating animals jokes, and, well,
Like, what do you mean?
like, at the very beginning of the movie, Moana eats something out of a bowl, and she goes, that's good pork, and then she turns, and Pua's there looking sad. Or they make all these jokes throughout the movie, especially Maui, about eating Hey Hey.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, Hey Hey's dumb.
Hey Hey is stupid.
Hey Hey would probably live a better life if dead.
Poor thing. You got Alan Tudyk, and you had him voice a chicken. And also, you got this...
Lord Whistleton.
You spend all of this time developing Pua as the cute animal sidekick, and then you don't see him again until the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the kind of humor that was prevalent through the entire thing. And after the first time it was funny, maybe the second time it was, and after a while it's like, we're doing this again?
Though I really like Tamatoa, mostly because it sounded just like David Bowie, and David Bowie had freshly died, and I need more David Bowie
We
in my
all
life.
needed a little time to recover, and that was what we needed.
Yes.
He just has, like, a fantastic villain song.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Toy Story 3 versus Mulan.
I'm gonna get so much hate for this. I'm going with Mulan.
Oh, absolutely. Me too.
I love Toy Story 3, but here's the thing. I could watch Mulan on loop for, like, years.
Yes.
Singing along with every single song, reciting along with the characters, and just enjoying every minute of it. Toy Story 3, it's too emotionally draining for me.
Yeah.
I can't sit and... I sit down and watch it, and then I need to watch something fluffy for a while to fill myself back up.
Yeah, I'm also going with Mulan because I feel like it's just such a empowering, fun movie. And whenever... I think that if we do another sort of gender-bent cabaret, I would love for the girls to do A Girl Worth Fighting For.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I'd want the guys to do Please Bring Honor to Us.
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
be honest, that would be...
Oh, that'd be so great.
Because we have a few guys in the group that would get way too into it, and it would be beautiful. All the... like, Luke just marching there. Please bring honor to us! Please bring honor to us!
I feel like Curtis would get into it too.
Curtis would get so... No, Curtis would be the matchmaker busting through the door at the
Oh
end.
my
You'll never be a bride!
Oh man. Okay. So
Curtis needs to be on a show,
Yes,
one of
he
these
does.
soon.
he's always busy. All right.
Yeah. He has a job now.
Yeah.
And unlike my job, his job is, like, weird hours. I either am working in this stretch of, like, 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m.,
Mhm.
or for my RA job, I just have to be in the building after 7 p.m.
Right. Okay. So we got Up versus Aladdin.
Up.
Yes.
Nothing
Yep.
can compete with Up. We're going to be real honest here. As much as I love Aladdin, you can't beat the opening sequence of Up in terms of
No.
nonverbal storytelling.
I think that's a masterclass for like visual storytelling.
It's one
for
of the
any-
most beautiful, like...
I feel like Up would make a really good ballet too. Up and Inside Out
Mhm.
would be great ballets.
Plus, when I did the Pixar exhibit, a lot of the things you could experiment with was changing the color and position of the sunlight to
Oh,
change
that's
the
cool.
mood of a room. Like, you would turn on a lamp and, like, move the sun over a bit, and it would look completely different.
That's really cool.
They spent so much time doing things like that to really, like, do nonverbal storytelling with
Mhm.
there.
Yes. Okay. So for you, Toy Story 2 versus Big Hero 6.
I'm gonna go with Toy Story 2.
Yep.
Toy Story 2 is my favorite Toy Story movie. And, like, I love the story. And it's got Jessie and the Prospector and all these wonderful characters that I enjoy watching over and over again.
Well, for me, I am doing the same thing.
Over Frozen.
Over Frozen. Same reasons. Okay. We got Peter Pan versus WALL-E.
I gotta go with WALL-E.
Yep.
I love Peter Pan. Peter Pan is my childhood, but put on your Sunday clothes when you look. A little robot cleaning up the world to the tune of Put on Your Sunday Clothes is just too amazing.
We're getting a Pixar sweep here. WALL-E is one of my favorite.
Because Disney had brief periods of sucking, whereas Pixar didn't really, except
for now.
Sequels.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yep. Okay. So you got Snow White.
Lion King.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Lion King.
That's a good call.
Because Snow White is fun and everything, but Lion King is just so incredible. Like the Antelope Stampede and the music and everything. The protagonist's voices don't annoy me to death.
Okay. And mine is Aristocats versus Lilo and Stitch. I am going Lilo and Stitch. Yes. Okay. Almost the home stretch. If you're still listening, thank you for staying with us.
Thank you for sticking with us as we hyper-analyze all of these movies.
Okay. So, Treasure Planet versus Finding Dory.
Treasure Planet.
Yep.
Finding Dory was okay, but I love Treasure Planet too much to let it lose to Finding Dory.
Yes,
Charity Play Musical voting information. Here we go.
Ooh, you're finding out live, folks. Well, not live, but as live as we can approximate this to be.
Here are the links to that, and now a word from your leadership.
Yeah.
Leadership. What are the musicals and plays? Hang on, let me actually read this. The charity voting form is out now.
Yep.
The musical and play voting form to all graduating members will be sent out at midnight tonight.
Oh, okay. We don't have to worry about that then right now. So, okay.
I'm going to vote for the charity real quick.
Next one, we have Pinocchio versus Tarzan.
I'm going to go with Tarzan.
Yep.
Because I love Pinocchio, but if I had to pick one of the two, I would rather watch Tarzan.
I'm currently obsessed with the song Son of Man. I love it.
Son of man, up to the sky. I love You'll Be in My Heart. I have for years.
Jeez.
Alright, I'm submitting my charity preferences, and we're done.
Oh.
Honestly, I loved all three of the charities pitched this year.
Yeah.
All of them are really, really good.
Charities are great. Okay. So, Cinderella or Alice in Wonderland?
I'm gonna go with Alice in Wonderland. It's a lot more creative. And I have more fun watching Alice in Wonderland. Like,
Agreed.
I like watching Cinderella, but Alice in Wonderland is like a good escapist thing.
We are in agreement there. Off with the heads. Okay. Got Finding Nemo
versus Bugs Life. Finding Nemo.
Yes.
Because
correct choice.
It's Finding Nemo. And I like Bugs Life, but not so much to put it over Finding Nemo.
Right. I would agree. I'm putting that over Wreck-It Ralph. Okay. So next you have... we both have Coco versus Beauty and the Beast. You're probably going Beauty and the Beast because you haven't seen Coco. But I'm also putting it over Coco because I love Coco, but I'm going to have to wait and see how it stands the test of time.
Yeah. Beauty and the Beast is going to be incredible until we are all dead and gone, and even long after that.
Because
like,
it's...
some alien civilization is going to find the ruins of Earth, and Beauty and the Beast will still hold up.
Yeah. Coco is still fresh in my mind, and I want to wait till I have some distance from it to sort of look back and see if it's still as great as I think it is.
And Beauty and the Beast is Beauty and the Beast.
Yes.
It's hard to top Beauty and the Beast.
All right, so we're moving in. Sweet 16. Tangled versus Ratatouille.
I'm gonna go with Tangled.
Okay.
Just because it's Tangled, and as much as I enjoy Ratatouille, I'm gonna be watching Tangled until the day I die and listening to it.
No, you know I love Tangled. but man,
Ratatouille.
I love Ratatouille.
This is getting harder and harder.
I know,
so
yeah.
I've decided to start going with my gut instinct instead of overanalyzing.
I love how they animate Paris when he first comes up from out of like
I love
the
Paris
walls
in
of the
general.
house and just looks down. It's so beautiful. Okay, so you have Little Mermaid versus Zootopia.
Zootopia.
Really?
Yeah, just because Little Mermaid, I love the music, but story-wise, Zootopia is...
That's true, yeah.
And Zootopia has more memorable characters, because Ariel's memorable, Sebastian, Flounder, Scuttle. But King Triton is kind of generic, overbearing dad.
Yeah.
You've got Prince Generic,
Ooh, shit!
who has no personality other than he plays the flute and he likes the water.
Suck it, Albert.
No, in the staged version, he's given more of a story and everything. It's just like, I have to.
Yeah. I'm going with Emperor's New Groove
Yeah.
over Zootopia for all the reasons I have praised Emperor's New
Because
Groove
Emperor's New Groove.
earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Jungle Book versus Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Hunchback.
Yeah, that doesn't seem as difficult to me.
Yeah. It's Hunchback. It's such a good story. I did God Help the Outcasts for my senior year coffee house. No regrets.
I am obviously going Inside Out over Winnie the Pooh because it is stellar. Okay, so now you have, I think we might both have this one, Mulan versus Up. I know. I know.
I'm gonna go with Up. Just the storytelling is so much better, and Mulan still has some problematic jokes and stuff now as I'm sitting here, and and it's Up. It's Up.
And I get that, and I love Up, but I gotta pick Mulan.
Yeah.
Because personal, like, it was, like, my favorite.
I love, though, the lady who voiced Mulan was May on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
Bing Na Wen. She's a total badass.
Okay. All right. Toy Story 2 versus WALL-E.
WALL-E.
Yep.
I love Toy Story 2,
fast.
but you can't beat two robots falling in love and also saving the planet and humanity.
Save the planet. Save the planet.
It's WALL-E.
It's WALL-E.
One's going to be our justification for a lot of these from here on out.
Yes.
It's insert title of movie here.
Yes. Okay. Lion King versus Treasure Planet.
Why must you do this to me? Okay, both beautiful computer and hand-drawn combined. Both have good stories, good characters. Lion King has music and Treasure Planet does. I'm gonna go with Lion King.
Okay.
I love Treasure Planet. I don't want it to be gone.
Well, it'll keep on living on my bracket.
Yeah.
Because I think it beats Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So Tarzan versus Alice in Wonderland.
Alice in Wonderland.
Mm-hmm.
It's Alice in Wonderland.
Mm-hmm.
I can watch it forever. It still holds up after all of these years.
I would agree with you.
It really hurts to see some of these movies go.
I know. It's so hard.
I love so many of them.
Okay. So Finding Nemo, Beauty and the Beast.
Oof. I'm gonna go Beauty and the Beast.
So am I.
Because it was nominated for Best Picture.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fantastic story and just great humanity and in the talking furniture. It's such a good movie.
Bonjour.
Bonjour. Bonjour. Bonjour. Bonjour.
Okay.
There goes the... Plus,
All right.
my community theater family's doing Beauty and the Beast in 2019. Ooh. I might actually get to play a princess for once!
All right, we got the final 8. So Tangled versus Utopia.
I'm gonna go Tangled.
All right.
Because as much as I love Zootopia, I'm gonna be watching Tangled for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I look forward to a day where I don't need to watch Zootopia anymore.
A
better world. Yep. No, a better world where we don't need to talk about things like that.
Yeah. Oh, this is so hard for me.
Ratatouille
I have Ratatouille versus Emperor's New Groove.
Ooh.
I think by virtue of my emotional connection to it, Emperor's New Groove is going to be the one moving to the final four.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, you got Hunchback versus Up.
No. No.
Sad versus sad.
Both rip your heart out and... I'm gonna go with Hunchback.
All right.
Because Up will always be one of the best, if not the best, Pixar movies in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
But Hunchback, I'm just so... I'm emotionally attached to it for a number of reasons. And I know it will always be there and be a constant, thing, no matter what age I am.
Right.
Whereas Up is one of those things I appreciate as I get older,
Mm-hmm.
I guess. And I'm not at the point where I can fully appreciate it yet.
Right. Okay. So I have Inside Out versus Mulan, and that is torturous, but I think Mulan beats it out because I think I agree with you there, and it's another thing of it's newer, so I want to see if it holds
Stands up.
the test of time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. WALL-E versus The Lion King.
WALL-E.
Yep. I would agree with you.
WALL-E is such a good movie. Plus, my inner musical theater geek is just like, hello, Dolly is in it!
Yeah.
It's the cutest thing I've ever seen.
WALL-E beats Treasure Planet for me. It's hard, but WALL-E is just so amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. Alice in Wonderland, Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast.
Yep.
Because it's Beauty and the Beast.
I believe I have the same ones. Yep. Beauty and the
Alright.
Beast, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We've reached the final four.
Okay.
Okay.
Tangled versus Hunchback. I didn't think it would come to this.
It's not your fault.
I'm
You're
not
not to blame.
Mea culpa.
Oh.
It was the gypsy girl that we may have had seen a culpa. I'm gonna go with Hunchback.
Okay.
As Tangled hasn't been around as long. Both are Alan Menken scores, but let's be honest, I'm gonna be singing Hunchback until the day I die.
Yep.
Partially because David will never let me get this songs out of my head
Yep.
ever until the end of time.
Okay. Oh, jeez. Emperor's New Groove versus Mulan.
Oh.
Okay, Mulan.
Yeah.
You bring honor to us all. Okay.
Please bring honor to us. Please bring honor to us.
Okay.
WALL-E,
Wait,
Beauty and the Beast. I'm gonna go with Beauty and the Beast.
Okay.
I hate to knock out Pixar out of the competition entirely, but just... I'm always gonna love Beauty and the Beast. And Beauty and the Beast is going to be there for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
You going WALL-E?
Yes, I am.
It's not... Honestly, that was one of the tougher ones, but I have to go with my princess.
Because it's another one of those cases where I have problems with some of the songs in Beauty and the Beast, and like the positives of WALL-E outweigh
the positives of Beauty and the Beast.
because they have the negatives too.
Yeah.
So, all right.
All
Time to
right.
choose a winner. Hunchback versus Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast.
All right.
It is such a good movie. It doesn't have the problems that persist in Hunchback.
Mm-hmm.
Both have incredibly beautiful music, but Beauty and the Beast is, I'll be honest here, more fun to sing along with.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even as they're going to murder somebody, you're sitting there like, through the mist, through the woods, through the darkness and the shadows, that's right, Sarah, but it's one exciting ride.
Yeah. So, I have done this bracket one time before, and Mulan was my winner. But
It's Mulan versus WALL-E.
it's Mulan versus WALL-E. This is what I ended up with. But I will say, since I already had one where Mulan won, and I love them both dearly, I am going to put WALL-E as my winner.
Completely understandable. It's such a good movie. Plus, it's a great example of nonverbals saying everything.
It's so
WALL-E is
good.
like that one song from Sunset Boulevard, With One Look, where like, I don't need to say anything, I say it all with my eyes.
Yes,
And
it's
like, even though the
okay.
robots don't have eyes that really move a ton, just like Wally will tilt his head and you know exactly what he's saying.
It's so amazing. All right.
So Beauty and the Beast and Wally came on top.
All right.
Today.
Not bad choices at all.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you so much for doing the Disney bracket with me and being on. So
I was glad to be here. We
Yeah.
spent way too long talking about Disney movies.
I should have expected that us two would spend a very long time.
Oh no, it would have been even worse if we'd had somebody else here, though.
Oh.
Can you imagine?
Oh my god, that would have taken forever.
Yeah.
But,
Because we would have made a comment and they would have gotten all about her. What?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for listening. Join us next time on the Get Off the Stage podcast.
Woo.